differentiation in what we see in the map pool, which is why you see brawlers like Lumi, Otis, maybe shake up a little bit, but it could just be team preference as well. Colette, one of the better brawlers in the game. I have no fault for that. One that I'll be keeping my eye out for today that popped up a lot more yesterday was Najia, something I didn't expect to see. I thought it was going to be a global ban for most of the weekend.
Day one has showed us Naja globally banned every single time. Now yesterday, we did see her a couple of times. She doesn't have the highest of win rates. It's super exciting to see what meta will they bring out today. We have 8 teams remaining. These are the top 8 of the Brawl Cup 2026. Humble Bounty Hunters from Group A, CR, and Revenant X-Spark Group C. Group B is Zeta Division Only Realm, and then Group D with Tribe Gaming and Foot Esports. If you had to put your money on one team right now, Arch, who would it be?
Oh, that's a horrible question, Sonny. How dare you place that upon me? For me, I think it's Crazy Raccoon, but it's a bit of a 50-50, but I still think there's a big amount of space for some upsets here. I think if Only Realm can really kind of like just wipe the slate clean, as they've had a day to recollect themselves since day one, although they did a fantastic showing in my opinion, I think for them they had higher expectations of themselves. They could cause an upset to start the day even, and then Tribe Gaming versus Revenant X-Spark in that upper stage of the bracket. Zeta Division will take on Bounty Hunters, and then Crazy Raccoon versus Foot Esports.
And what we're all playing for, I mean, look, it's a lot of money. I'm not going to dispute that. But this is a battle of the regions for a reason. World final slot for first place, second place LCQ, the way the bracket shaped up as well. East Asia's doubling down on the bottom side, so good odds they get at least an LCQ in personal opinion. Like you mentioned, Crazy Raccoon looking good. Rather impressed with Zeta Division as well. But Foot Esports and Humble, the EMEA, those two regions have been at the top of the leaderboards for a long time. They're on opposite sides. So this is certainly going to be an interesting one as we progress.
And in the end, with these extra spots and with the extra BSC points, they have not only the medals in their hand in the end, but also the rest of the season. They will change it, really. We also have some lovely co-streamers on site. Here they are. Spanish, Portuguese, Japanese, and German. And we have some very well-known faces alongside them as well.
Spirit there, ready and set. Some big sparkles in the background I can see there from Bicep as well. Great to see everyone pumped. Bruno there too. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Love it. And just again, so grateful for all of the talent that we have here in this event.
Ton of aura being exuded from that side as well, I might add. Everybody's looking dapper, and I just can't help but see a Melty on the other side. Just always. Just always. Just
max
a natural.
aura.
Just a natural.
They always outshine us. Isn't it annoying in the end? I'm really trying hard here. But for everybody watching over on event.brawlstars.com, don't fret, you get something as well. You get these wonderful rewards. We mix it up once more. So today you get a beautiful Brawl Cup icon.
It's a banger.
Day one, we had a pin. Day two, a spray. Did you receive anything so far?
It's day 3.
Hopefully
I don't need a reason.
Because why not?
I don't need a reason.
Because why not?
Since it's finals day, we start out with everybody getting a reward. Everybody gets 100 points on the website every single time we touch this wonderful button. And yeah, we wanted to reward everyone who was tuning in early today just to see these two beautiful faces.
Oh,
just a little test for him. Just a little
flattering.
test.
So flattering, Sonny. I love it.
We want to go straight into our first match of the day. It's playoff day, and we're kicking things off with Humble versus Only Realm. This is a super interesting one, as we have two of the oldest players actually in Brawl Esports on either of the sides. Symantec, the oldest EMA player right now, Bobby, oldest in NA, yet they have never even faced each other.
Which is kind of wild, honestly, when you think about it, you know, with Symantec and Bobby going back so far. And Bobby's been quite publicly open about saying that he's been wanting this matchup, you know. I think that it wasn't necessarily the plan A for their, you know, group stages and their showings. They kind of had a good feeling that if they were, you know, likely to face Humble, then that would be a very tough match to go into the playoffs with. But I really cannot wait to see how this one fares and whether Only Realm can cause a big surprise here.
Certainly a natural fit for Symantec as well. Very publicly, I think out of respect, garners a little bit of a rematch, or I guess a first-time match with Bobby here. Just two longtime legends from different regions. And Patchy, of course, has come so far so many times. We know Bobby and Sans have gone the distance. They've gotten second place at a World Finals. But Patchy's been so close so many times. And I think that's been the story of North America as a whole the last few years. I think Humble should be the favorites very reasonably. I'm not ruling Only Realm out. If they can get out of their own heads, I feel like they're going to be a serious contender here.
Humble came into this tournament as one of the favorites. Day one wasn't too kind to them. They did drop a couple of sets, but in the end, still coming out 2-0 on top in their group. So definitely a very strong contender to take. These are the global bans. Not too surprised to see that Pierce ban over here. Very targeted pen. We know that Luki plays this brawler quite well. On the other side, though, I believe Bobby is also quite a good sniper player. So a little surprising, I guess. Leon was banned out there as well. These are the maps we're gonna see here. Do you feel like the global bans make sense now even more that we see these maps?
I think when you got like Sneaky Fields, Layer Cake, those are maps where Mortis can really shine, and the openness as well of Bell's Rock, you know, Pierce is going to have a fantastic place there. But I think you're right, Sonny, sometimes you have to kind of take a step back and say, as much as you'd like to get your hands on a brawler, it's sometimes worth globally banning something which is going to be potentially more deadly in your enemy's hands.
The poll is out as well, Kenny. Only 22% believe NA will take this one.
Makes sense. I mean, Humble, after all, 2024 world champions, 2025 runner-ups, I get it. To me, this is more of a 65-35-ish. I feel like Humble should be favorites, but not by this much.
I believe everybody's ready now, the viewers at home and also everyone who came out here to Berlin to watch these matches live. So Barney, let's bring the teams in.
No more safety nets, no more second chances. Today, it's win or go home. And if I'm perfectly honest, I couldn't think of a better matchup to kick off Championship Sunday. So I think it's time to introduce our two competitors to the stage. On one hand, we have the old guard of North America in Only Realm and their opponent on home turf. It is Humble!
Dethroned at Worlds, but never broken. The dominant 2024 World Champions are back on land. Hungry to prove last year's silver medal was just a minor setback. The fire is back. North America's founding fathers are back on top of their region, and they're ready to prove they still have what it takes to conquer the globe.
Ooh, Bobby, can you come over here? Semantic! Semantic, hello. Make your way over here, buddy. Here we go. You ready? Let's go, let's go, let's go. You face each other? Face each other. Here we go. It's a tale and a rivalry as old as time, as old as esports. It's NA versus EU. It's going to be a bloodbath out here, and I can't wait. So, Bobby, you ready?
Been waiting 6 years to face this guy, so yeah, I'm more than ready.
6 years, Semantic. How you feeling, man?
I think it's more like 8 years, and I'm definitely ready.
Nice, they're both ready. You can go back to your seats, gentlemen. Fist bump. Ah, that's right, baby, that's right. Nothing but love right here on the main stage. But when that game starts, you can bet that hug's going straight out the window. We've got Humble looking on top form. They're so dangerous, we all know that. But the immovable object in the form of Only Realm. Only time will tell, and I cannot wait, and I bet you can't either. So let's get this match underway!
Boss. Symantec. Loki. Patchy. Bobby. Sands.
And we're heading to Brawl Ball to start things out. It couldn't be any better. The fan favorite mode for day 3, playoff day. And guys, what do you feel like matters more today? Raw mechanical skill, or do the teams who have shown us the cleanest draft so far have their heads up?
I think the crowd as well could be a big factor here. I mean, certainly a lot of voices behind Humble, but only Realm hungry for it. For me here as well, Naj is actually open. Not sure whether it's necessarily the best brawler to have on that kind of defensiveness. Chester and Ruffs mainly are the two that are going to be that early pick. The Ruffs being banned out in this instance here as well. Sandy could be an option. Let's see as well. The bans is actually banned out there as well. So Otis could be a card here to play. Wouldn't be the worst of maps as well for a Trunk. We saw Bobby playing it a little bit. I'd like him to iron out some of those angles if he does decide to bring it in.
Anti-take on the left-hand side. Now they're running out of options on the right. So Ims would be a traditional one on this map. Nita is somebody that comes to mind as well. Otis in that as well. So both sides immediately starting with this. And then they're going to move towards tanky brawlers. You mentioned the Sandy. Definitely a targeted one. It's something we saw Only Realm do the other day. It's one that Sands is very iconic for as well. So I think that's just Humble doing good homework.
Leute, ihr habt gehört, was Ark gesagt hat. Feuert euer Team gleich an. Es wird ihm nochmal extra Energie geben. You heard what Ark said. When the crowd is cheering, it's gonna make it so that the team can do even better and perform at their highest level today. Draft now showing us Mo on the right-hand side. We have Otis to hold on to that mid control, potentially playing mid lane here as well. Mo for the aggression. Now, usually gonna get quite good controlled already by the Chester. They don't really need to be scared of any more tanks on the right-hand side. Is it gonna be something with a bit of range for Luki, for example? Or are we gonna see something aggressive as well? Now, from the EMEA squad, we actually have Naja left open.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes Griff can also pair to open up the map just a little bit in that regard. Ball could be an option here. Yeah, Naja will actually make a showing. I was unsure, though, because in terms of that defensiveness, sometimes a little bit challenging to make her work and having something to maybe back it up outside the Chester, which, if you get that kind of luck on your side, you can get that nice stun to then have that ball be dropped and then just try to get it clear. But I just do worry a little bit about defensiveness so far of the Humble Cup.
No signs of real aggression outside on this left-hand side as well. So they're either going to have to go something aggro or tanky if they want to go that, or they're just going to have to commit to control. And that's something we've seen, I would say, a little bit more this week, and it surprised me. We've had such a long stretch here of just tanks running the meta, but instead it is going to be Humble. Doubling down. 2 anti-tanks. They got the mid of choice, which is one of the better brawlers in the game right now, especially that are at least legal for this weekend on the esports side.
Are we going to see something aggressive once more? Trunk was a Only Realm special yesterday. Are they gonna bring him out once more? 14 seconds before we know the last pick here. What else would you pick here if this was your draft, Ark?
I quite like the need to pick from Humble because it kind of deters away the idea of maybe a final pick ball. They've got the Otis on their side. They're kind of maybe gearing up for, that or a Trunk. So they're going to play it as needs regardless.
Trunk it is in the end. Good to see that we still get to figure out the draft ourselves. And now we have 2 more guys who dressed up for you today to guide you through this banger of a match. Ready and Uber.
Thank you very much, Sonny. Long have we waited for one of the biggest rivalries in Brawl Stars to finally play out on the stage. Whether it's 6 or 8 years, we've been waiting a hell of a long time for Semantic and Bobby to finally throw down in a match that matters. And ready, it doesn't get more important than this. It's all on the line. No second chances here in our first quarterfinal.
No better way to kick off Championship Sunday than this. A rivalry years in the making. And the drive sort of went to expectation. Bobby locking in the Trunk as the last pick once again. Last time he played Sneaky Fields, it did not go his way. Gonna go for this Chester early on. Diffed by Semantic on the left side. Boss breaks through. Patchy, the final one to expire. An easy daisy chain up to this goal to secure the first one for Humble.
You cannot be making any mistakes against this Humble outfit. Humble picked that Nita expecting a last pick tank out of Only Realm. So this really plays out probably to their expectations as well. Bobby cannot run up on Semantic like he did early, but Semantic is chasing him across the map, always finding him. Gets the gas super onto Patchy, which is going to keep him out of the fight for a long time. And Sands is going to be overwhelmed.
Double kill for Luki, just going to hang on to mid for now. And Bobby looking to avoid the poison so they can group up as 3 strong for their next push in. All they really have is Bobby's initial assault inward. They're scouting for Semantic. They want to look for this anti-tank. Gonna go for it. Gets Luki with a crit. Looks for another on the boss, but it's no good. Hypercharge expended. 1 to Humble.
You're going to have to get up pretty early in the morning to come at our Kings of 2024. This Humble squad are sharp. And Semantic, watch him. He is diving after the trunk on every opportunity that he gets. He will not give Bobby any room to breathe here.
So what we discussed leading into Sneaky Fields. Every time I watch Humble play this map, I am thoroughly impressed by their lane rotations and their conservation of information. Only Realm constantly scouting for where those counters are going to be. Here comes the aggression in from Sands, wins his lane. Not going to be taken down by Luki just yet. Meanwhile, the interactions go well at mid. Bobby and Patchy winning the respective lanes. This mid belongs to Only Realm, but only for now. What will Humble have in store? A lack of information. Luki looking for the initial poison. Bobby revealing his position on the left side. Rotation over towards the right. Gets hit with the Jawbreaker and taken down.
Oh, that Naja Soup is going to be a problem. She is so obnoxious, constantly putting poison ticks on Only Realm so they can't group up and fight. Bobby can't stop Semantic and he knows it. Walk in for Humble.
Near interception as well. Bobby played that as best as he could, but he's facing two anti-tanks that he cannot afford to feed. Still hanging on to the super. Sands also looking for the initial push in. Once again on Semantic, and Semantic is running away. Here comes the hypercharge from behind. Boss circles from the top, but Sands breaks through. There's no opposition awaiting him at the goal line.
Heavily targeted with global and particular map ban. Sands is the player to watch here for Only Realm. He's got the playmaker potential on this Mo, and it's the only one that can really go after the Chester, dive those side lanes. Semantic has to respect him, but meanwhile, this is an absolute wash on the rest of the map. Bobby's going to be forced away. That is a lot of snakes, folks. Hypercharge super out from Luki, and it's just too much to bear. Humble, wipe the floor with Only Realm in Brawl Ball.
It was the Bruce that just kept on giving. Bruce the Bear charging forward. Bobby couldn't find it in the crit spot, had no assistance from Patchy at mid. And then Nita was able to cycle an entire new bear off of that push all the way back into spawn. It's the hazard of facing Nita with a tank. It is not a super that you can afford to charge for the enemy. You see how targeted they were with these selections, with these bans, Sands especially. And Only Realm had tried to account for this, open things up. Also remembering the pain of facing a Lumi earlier.
You ran at the Chester, you gotta win that. It's a lot.
The frustration already beginning to set in after set one. The common criticism of Only Realm as a team is how much they can give into emotion on the stage.
Yeah, I mean, already some frustration starting to emerge there, and I know exactly who Patchy was talking to.
Oh yeah.
In that moment. We saw Bobby try and go after Semantic on multiple occasions, but Chester is a consummate tank killer. It is a very difficult matchup for the Trunk to win. And try as Bobby did, he was not able to make that connection. Luki on the Naja, obviously she's not known for high amounts of burst damage, but she's a fantastic control brawler, constantly inflicting that poison with shots that are pretty hard to miss, and then a super and star power that spawns more of those snakes, more of those poison stacks. I think you've got to be banning that. It's one of Luki's most played brawlers across any map, and you've got to respect it.
He has no reservations about playing it. When you head over to Bounty, it is a must ban. It's not globally banned, so it's going to have to be one of those crucial three that shape up the draft.
And Luki has a 76% win rate in sets that he gets to play Naja.
That's ridiculous.
And she's his most played brawler in the lead up to this tournament. She's got to go.
Too many brawlers that you feel like you have to ban if you're Only Realm. Too much trauma endured over the last several days. Brawlers that you just want to get out of the way. It's the Naja ban to start things off. A quick adaptation. Unless it was already planned. I think this one was probably already planned from the get-go, but there was no way they anticipated the retake to be so effective with the Naja on Sneaky Fields, usually geared towards some of those high-paced, tanky brawlers. Lumi, instant appearance from Humble. I'm noticing a lot of the same characters showing up for Only Realm, a lot of the same enemies, a lot of the same trauma.
There's a spicy pick that only Realm really play on this map. So keep an eye out and see if Carl actually gets drafted in this particular set. Obviously, really good if you want to play like an all-in strategy, or try and wait till the final seconds in a round. Also, Hit Ejector pretty good at zoning on Layer Cake, where there's a number of choke points that you sort of get bottlenecked into. So, gonna be Meatball to start things off with. Obviously, pretty potent brawler with some degree of homing or heat seeking on those projectors, making it a little bit easier to hit and build up those supers. Just a very effective control brawler with a gadget that can stuff any dives.
Another one lurking in the shadows from Only Realm is that Shade last pick. They would love to play it here. It's one that Sands is so well adapted to, one that he spams, really honestly, at times. Might be a bit too much aggression to go for now. It would synergize nicely with the walls. Another 4-5 turn for Humble. to play into this aggression. Lumi is going to be vulnerable in close range. They're looking for an anti-tank of their own, but something that does fine at mid to long range so they don't get countered with the last pick.
Kaze taken away from Semantic, one of his most, in fact, his most played brawler in general over the last few weeks. If you're in the room, you sort of round this out here with like Brock's sort of still on the table. And yeah, it's hard not to go for the Chester here. That's obviously a bit of an issue. And here's the Shade, something that was looked at. It's a brawler that both these teams like to make use of. This is definitely a quintessential Lukey pick, 70% win rate for him on the Shade.
Last pick from Only Realm. They could outrange the Chester, but it's difficult to deal with the Shade.
You've got to dive on the Lumi somehow.
Yeah.
It'll be a big risk to combine the Carl aforementioned here with this Kaze.
You can't get through walls. How do you play around the Shade? It is something that you absolutely must respond to. Break the walls or play around them.
Fat splatter into a wall, I guess?
It's not a kill confirm right there. They're just going to try and deny super. They're going to try and inflict the same damage on Humble that they witnessed at the hands of Zeta on day one.
I don't love this draft out of Only Realm yet again. It's not the most convincing. You've got some broadly effective brawlers, right? You've got the Otis with a mute button who can be a very powerful duelist and again can punish chokes with Fat Splatter, make it hard to pass through them. But Chester is going to be very good against the Kaze. I think Lumi's going to be really annoying to play into. Her gadget, Grim and Frostbitten on this map is a massive pain in the neck. Get the blue star first is the plan though for the Kaze. Sands is going to step up and get his team an early lead.
So how this one is going to play out, it's about getting that blue star and then playing D, but Only Realm don't want to let this get back too far too soon. A bit of initial damage on Boss and a lot of respect given to Lukey on this right side. Gets again positioned for free. They don't have a way of playing around this wall with the exception of Fat Splatter. And Bobby is estranged from that position. Everyone backed up for now. Only Realm still look really just fine. It's going to take another gadget from Lumi to make some real damage happen. Or a super. And they're also avoiding giving Lukey any supercharge.
How though do Only Realm fight into the map here? Yeah, Manchester Meeple does catch Lukey out for a time, but this poke damage coming in from Semantic, it's going to start to become pretty oppressive. There's a Grim and Frostbitten. Bobby has to move out of that spot there. It's very awkward for him to play into this corner. And Humble just going to hold Only Realm in place here. They just need to be careful not to overextend. Another Mansions to push Lukey back a little bit, creating two lanes.
Humble getting impatient. Semantic going to try and push forward. There's no dice. They really do have a kill confirm with Boss's super. So they're just making sure they use it the right way. They also don't want to get blasted away by Patchy. If they go for Bobby on the right side, it's going to be the gadget. Bobby locked in. Boss finds... No! What? You're kidding!
No connection. Bobby now low, but able to heal up. Meeple super in play. This is going to force Lukey to be a bit more passive on the left-hand side of the map. Boss has to bide his time. Another Mansions comes in. Only Realm somehow still fighting in the top corner of the map. Patchy's getting low though. Semantic wants to pressure. There's a super at the ready. We don't know what it's going to be from the Chester, but it could be impactful if it's a bomb.
Semantic still biding his time. Hypercharge out. It's a double stun. There's one onto Bobby. Patchy not soon to follow. It's exchanged out. Still a one-star lead. 10 seconds to go and enough time for Humble to regroup as 3 strong. They're going to have to utilize their HP here. Hope for a team wipe or at least something. A hypercharge out from Patchy. Everything rebuffed by Only Realm. Sands in for one final blow just for insurance. A slow and steady game from Only Realm. Now preying on the impatience of Humble, but you have to acknowledge that was a complete misplay from Boss on the right side. He had that kill in the bag versus Bobby. We'd be looking at a very different game if he had made just one of those Morning Stars around the blocks.
The level of composure it takes, though, to play that position by Only Realm is stunning. Very impressive performance from them, considering they were forced into a corner for the entire round. Now Humble have to respect this. They've got to play around that Meeple hypercharge. They've got to be wary of the fan storm, making things complicated. Again, Only Realm have given up ground on this map. Sands playing towards the left.
Much different lineup. This time they have Lukey in a different position, preying off of Sands' aggression. Lukey now with the long arms. Not going to be offered any opportunities, it looks like. Really just takes a couple of attacks from Shade to get his super. That combined with the trickling supercharge from someone standing within the radius, another attempt at boxing with Manches of Meeple. Also serves to keep Patchy away. Another near miss. Humble really reaching with these abilities here, but they come short every time.
This is elite play from Only Realm here to stay alive under this kind of pressure, but Sands might not have anywhere to go. He's forced back into the corner. I like the fat sputter there for Bobby just to break them up and force Semantic over to the right. He's going to buy some time, but Bobby is rooted in place. Lukey, though, can't finish the job. It's Patchy Patchy falling though. Sands realizes he's got to go aggressive now, as Only Realm have given up the lead.
Only Realm for the first time on the aggression, but Humble are going to make this as slow and painful as possible on the retreat. Only Realm doing a good job of keeping their composure here. They're just going to have to go up 1 inch at a time. And now onto the next layer of this layer cake. And Humble retreat even more. Now conceding mid. Sands hit with the candy spray, retreating all the way and can't hang on. It looks like just shriveled down to a shred of HP. 20 seconds to go, though. There's no turning back for Only Realm.
Okay, still, this can be used now, this Mantis of Meeple, to get Only Realm back into the middle of the map. 17 seconds remain. They've got to get themselves that 1 star. Now we're into a countdown. Sands is going to respect Lukey. Pops the long arm and the lure, and Sands takes the hit. He's forced to back up. Patchy with a super ready to go, and Bobby encroaching, getting closer. Semantic now has to trend towards the right. Bobby's brought down. Now Sands, can he work with this super? The answer is no. And Humble last in our second round.
The win conditions could not be more clearly spelled out. Look at the anguish on the players' faces as well. Semantic up here sweating. High pressure gameplay as Only Realm are pulling out a level of mechanics that I think we were not really expecting. Versus Zeta Division, they looked quite good. Mechanically, the drafts were not really there. Now we're looking at mechanical mastery from Only Realm.
But
high execution.
They have literally drafted themselves into a corner on this map.
It's true.
They have made it hard for themselves. I feel like they have to be that much better in order to win these rounds. And they did so in the first, but it's tough to do that with consistency. Patchy brought down in the neutral zone, and Sands has got nowhere to go. This may well be a capitulation from Only Realm, falling behind by 3 stars early.
In the past, Only Realm, when they find themselves down, they've been known to throw in the towel, give up. Hopefully they've learned from their mistakes by then and have kept themselves of sound mind. Here comes a super from Lukey going for 1. Bobby completely surrounded, can't get it. Humble lead by 7 stars here. Lukey in cycle with the Shade Supers.
Looks like the gloves are off here for Humble. The challenge has been issued now to the tune of 7 stars. We'll get a minute left in the round, but Humble have a healthy lead. Sands is getting tapped up in the middle of the map, and that is a blast pick that Patchy would sooner forget. Lukey runs up on him now, and Equipment Frostbitten's going to deny Bobby his escape. It's 12-1. Devastating lead for Humble, and Only Realm are reeling.
Need to see some supers here from Only Realm. A valuable something from Patchy perhaps to deal with Lukey, but he's fine with it. He's got his hypercharge now, and he's ready to super away just to stay safe. That hardened hoodie is going to give him a bunch of damage resistance as he is on the retreat, still waiting for anyone to go in. Sands has no other choice. He's going to have to play aggro here in the final 30 seconds. What a super from Boss. 1 and 2. Bobby now forced to retreat and regroup.
Doesn't get much better than that. Humble might end the round on volume of stars without the time running out. Patchy's got a hypercharged super, but even a full team wipe may not be enough. Here we go. Patchy's going to be rooted by the blast beat. Boss is healthy though. Lukey tucked in the corner. Starts to get slap happy in the middle of the map. And there is not a damn thing Only Realm can do. Completely humiliated in this last round of Layer Cake. It's a 2-0 series. And North America's finest so far have nothing to say.
In the 1 monthly final, Only Realm won. They had to make it 2 reverse sweeps in a row. Is that the Only Realm that we see today? It's the only way for them to make it to the next stage. Otherwise, they go down 0-3. Vegeta, their coach, smiling up here. One of, you gotta be kidding me.
I was gonna say, does he have a dinner reservation he's gonna make now? Or is it just...
Might be a Vic day.
Yeah, that's crazy, you did that, okay. Maybe an acceptance here of what may be ahead. Glasses off here for Sands. He needs to take a moment to collect himself. Really good first round. But it was, I'd say, off the back of some errors here from Humble. You mentioned Boss had a kill confirmed that he wasn't able to make. They were happy with that. But again, it really did feel like the draft put Only Realm in a position where they were constantly playing catch-up.
Pretty much. You saw Otis locked in a corner for much of this. The only way that they were winning this is by defense. And it was not enough. And as soon as they found themselves in a losing position, it's as if everything fell apart, particularly when Lukey got his first super. Everything fell into cycle. Humble knew that this is exactly what would happen. And you have to acknowledge also that Only Realm were well aware that this was the risk of permitting Shade. I have a feeling, though, that they saw this as a last pick only brawler. And it's a total error because their response to this was Otis. That's not a shade reaction at all. A complete oversight.
And Boss is normally the support player on this team, right? Plays a ton of roughs and Jaeyong, but he's Lumi. He has an 81% win rate in scrims in the lead up to this tournament. Sets in which he can get that brawler, he pops off. He gets to show a little bit of that skill expression. And catching 2 players out with a double root blast speed hypercharge, that's going to give your team the map win. Let's move along though to Bell's Rock. And potentially the last chance for Only Realm to stay alive in this game, and they go instantly for the kit. They certainly don't want to let Semantic have that brawler, I'll tell you that much.
And this is also an Only Realm special as well, so it'll be interesting to see one of the masters of kit play versus the other. Bobby, of course, a player that has put a lot of effort into learning the intricacies of such a interesting brawler. When they can play as a support. Yeah, polarizing. You know, you hate to face it in showdown. In 3v3, it's just as confusing. Play as support, go for some cheese synergies. How are you going to play it? And yeah, you'd be poorly informed to think that you can catch Humble off guard with this selection.
You want to know Boss's win rate on Jaeyong?
Let's hear it.
92%.
You're kidding. In scrims.
In scrims.
Versus professional teams.
Yes. In the lead up to this tournament, this team, when they can draft a Jaeyong-centric strategy, perform very, very well. And that's obviously all to be said with roughs available to be picked. We're going to go in for the Ollie now. So you've got a burst of speed, and we know exactly that often we see the roughs paired with the Ollie right to guarantee that hypercharge to get like a large radius of stun, but Jaeyong cannot be very effective in giving that extra burst of speed to make that connection.
I think they'll get Ollie into position pretty quickly. So how are you going to break down the walls to deal with the Ollie? This is basically the way that you always respond to it. Also, Buster is a possibility just for the Kevlar Vest star power, be immune to the stun that Ollie has to offer. But that's really only a great reaction when you can see that super from Ollie coming. You have enough time to react. But all these players are playing Claw. They are going to be getting that hypnosis done really quickly.
If you covered the team names, I would actually think that this was an only that these drafts were swapped, honestly. This is such a classic Humble draft here, getting the Byron involved. So both of these teams apparently willing to play to each other's approaches. What else is available here? Obviously, Bell's Rock's the kind of map where, you know, Rico has to be banned on. That's already been sort of taken out. Meeple also a thing in the past. Man. Okay. Oh, man. We've seen this strategy before. The Kid and the Daryl combined are a menace. And Sands can obviously, you know, or rather, whoever's playing the Byron can really facilitate here with the healing and a super that can really just turn a fight on its head.
The risk here with Kit Daryl is it relies on you hanging back for the majority of round 1. Then you can start to cycle off of 2 and 3, but you have to have enough defense. And it's usually a cheese strat. This works versus players who aren't expecting it. Cordelius is going to be eliminating Daryl from the equation, so it'll leave Kit stranded. It separates these two. So
it's a really annoying
sensible reaction. Yes, it's going to be good for defense. It's not going to be as amazing for offense. They can jump the walls and deal with it.
Yeah, when we're poking and trading damage, Cordelius won't have much to do.
Yeah, so they'll get mid early on, in my opinion. And if Cordelius has a super, then yeah, sure, they can do this later. He could also run mute if he's feeling particularly crafty, but at this level of play, you're typically running
the jump gadget. Yes. It gives you like evasion as well, especially if the Kid tries to super you.
Yes.
You can get that invulnerability frame. So, what might be last chance saloon here for Only Realm will be a knockout game on Bell's Rock. And you see Humble, of course, with this Jaeyong composition. It's going to be Luki on the Jaeyong instead, as Boss has taken up Cordelius' duty.
It's going to be initial damage. Luki claims the first kill as everything disintegrates for Only Realm. Patchy and Bobby both equipped with their supers. But a round is not something you can afford to give away. Bobby also shooting to keep himself on low HP so that he's not farmed for anything, but Boss refuses to leave him alone. Just stay within the radius. Bobby also going to have to go for the kill. Yeah, feed some stuff to the rest of the team. Boss is like, nah, and cue the yakety sacks as everyone's chasing each other around. Boss probably 2/3 of the way to his hyper, I would say.
Yeah. Clever by Bobby, not to make sure he didn't heal up there, of course, but that was a tough round. Now, though, we get to see what Only Realm's comp is supposed to do. We've got Kit Super, we've got Daryl Super. It's time to make the magic happen. Humble, they're going to push up, and I want to point out that Cordelius is sitting on Super. Boss is going to be ready to break up the Bobby Patchy tour de force if they try and combine.
Says here for support, gonna instead go for some initial damage. Boss definitely jumps away, but now he doesn't have it to deal with defense. Patchy gonna go for it into the realm. Bobby looks to claim a kill, hypnotize. Now looking for the long way around onto Semantic. Doesn't have the second roll. Boss puts him in the realm as Sands versus Semantic and Boss. This 1v2 has only one victor, but they're still gonna give it their best shot.
Yeah, virtually unwinnable for the Byron here. Just doesn't have the damage, even if he can penetrate every now and then. He's quite squishy and so humble. Take this first game of this third set away. And remember, this is single elimination. This may be Only Realm's last chance here at Brawl Cup to say something for themselves and for the region. It's been a tough year. In fact, it's been multiple tough years since the core of this team stood and made second place at Worlds. And they've been waiting for this matchup. We only have to hope it's not over too soon.
The fall of Only Realm coincided with the rise of Humble, and you can see exactly why. Patchy pushing in, looking for anything, and he stays alive. He'll at least be able to get something here. Maybe a bit more supercharged, but absolutely nothing. Only Realm running it down like they do a lot of times, but it just doesn't work versus former world champions.
All right. Last chance here for Only Realm to make something happen. Sands out on the super. Bobby gonna try and roll in. Luki affected by the super now. Big stun though. Here comes the dash in. The Ollie super catches Patchy out. This is rough. Bobby low. Not a lot of damage here outside of the Darrow getting up close and personal. But on the side of Humble, they've got Jaeyong and Ollie. Not exactly heavy hitters themselves.
Looking at Only Realm, there was some discussion on the strat. Don't push in, Bobby. Just get your super. Get it for the next round. Sand's gonna soften them up, and Luki continues to heal Semantic. He's playing for some hypercharge here. It's going to be a valuable way of dealing with these two brawlers as things close into mid. Bobby also hoping to get his hypercharge, and Sands looking for a super to assist.
Yeah, make sure denying Sands super, I think, is the big part of the game. Luki here rather goes for a weekend warrior pop. Instead of waiting for Semantic to find a stun, he just want to take the fight. Gets Bobby, catches him out with a gadget. Big stun on towards Bobby. He's following Semantic into the gas. Big damage. Bobby takes a tick, and that is that. This isn't a rivalry. This is a lesson. An extinction event. Only Realm thrown from the top of the crater. Sacrifice to the Brawl gods. As Humble take one big step forward in their Brawl Cup campaign.
After 8 years in development, hopefully it was worth the wait. For EU, it was, but for NA, they've only borne witness to their own funeral. Only Realm, NA's #1, knocked out in a flash.
That means the whole region must pin their hopes now on Tribe Gaming. Down to the stage, and we're sure it's an elated Team Humble that are awaiting us. So let's waste no time and head down with Barney and the gang.
Wow. I mean, let's face it. I mean, the winning streak continues. Let's just put it that way at the Brawl Cup. And a really impressive performance from you guys. Day one, Only Realm, they took Zay to the distance. They cruised through BC Gaming to come to this day, face off against you guys. What were the thoughts going into this game? Obviously, you kind of fancied yourself as favorites, but was there anything you guys were worried about?
We were not worried about anything because Global Bans really helped us, as we just predicted everything they wanted to do. So we played clean drafts, everything clean, and we just thrilled them.
I've got an interesting piece of information for you guys. If Tribe win their next match, you have the opportunity to single-handedly remove the NA region from this competition. Does that feel good?
It feels actually really good. Even more in Twitter, like there's always beef within EMEA and North America, and it would feel great to have Europe again on top.
I have a history of Tribe Gaming to always lose to them in World Finals. Now I beat them in the last two, so I would like to keep my streak against them with a win.
Okay, that's a fair point. Now, I did notice as well, though, leading into this match, you know, there was also a lot of mutual respect for each other as well, as people who have been competing in Brawl Stars for a long time. Does it feel like, you know, that mutual respect is still there? And obviously, they're great competitors, right?
Yeah. We have a lot of respect to all the team. Like, we are really good friends. We just sad that they lost, but someone needs to go out, and I'm happy that we're still in.
Well, the first team to make it into the semi-finals is, of course, Humble!
What an insane match! Not the outcome we expected. I thought we would go all the way. Unfortunately for Only Realm, their journey today is cut short.
Yeah, such a disappointing showing from them, and I'm sure they'll be kicking themselves for it. And it wasn't how they wanted this match to be, was it? They wanted to take it all the way at the very least. And, you know, I'm kind of, I'm just kind of upset for Only Realm because I really had some high hopes for them in this competition. It's just a bit of a tougher one. I mean, it's humble. It's humble. They're world champions. They are the current reigning Brawl Cup champions, and they're coming out today showing that they've still got it.
I think like the cracks were showing for this team coming into the tournament, Only Realm that is, Patchy sort of tweeting saying, I just haven't really felt comfortable drafting in this format at all. Someone who is a pretty leading voice on his team in terms of putting these comps together. I think Patchy took yesterday hard. I think today
Really
there was
hard,
some
yeah,
really... The trunk into the chest was brutal in the first map. The comp that they played on Layer Cake just forced him into the corner. Like, you don't want to play Brawl Stars that way. It felt like Only Realm made these games 20% harder for themselves.
Yeah, the trunk was a good example, and off to a bad start for Only Realm immediately. We even talked about it at the desk. They were, picking trunk yesterday already. It worked, kinda, and we both said maybe today it's not a good option. They went with it anyway. Sometimes comfort picks do pay off, not today for Only Realm. As we already established, EMEA is the only region that now still has two teams in the race to actually make it through the finals. East Asia has two teams, but they're on the same side of the bracket. So EMEA technically the only region who can take both the World Final slots and the extra LCQ slots home.
Yeah, if Humble continue this reign and make the Grand Finals, and then on the other end of the bracket for esports have that same run, they will face off in their Grand Finals and bag both. For esports, that's obviously a long way ahead, considering that they are playing with a substitution, but Lena has been playing fantastically well. But again, for North America so far, I just worry now. It's all down to Tribe Gaming to keep them in the race. For Only Realm, I think that for me, I'm just disappointed because when they play at their best, that is a team that undoubtedly could win this whole thing.
I just think confidence has always been a big deal for this team. You talked about it right at the start of the weekend, and you said last year when you spoke to them at World, spoke to Bobby, you knew that they were going to bomb out of that tournament.
Before they started.
And I think the loss for those guys in their group left them shell-shocked. I saw Patchy after their first day of games, and I was like, guys, you actually got out of this group. It looked like they were eliminated already, and I don't think they've bounced back from that.
If confidence is key, then Humble certainly has what it takes to make it all the way through. First up, though, they're the first team to wait in the semi-finals, trying to find out who is gonna go up against them there. We have a little bit of a different content piece for you now. Guess the brawler.
Welcome to Guess the Brawler. They have 30 seconds to guess as many as possible. The time starts now.
Pistols, wall break, Colt, Peep,
Nani.
Got a shadow in front of a band for the storm.
Serious? What?
No, skip. Skateboard.
Ollie.
First brawler.
Shelly.
Japanese fans.
Max.
Fans. Dash. Okay, skip. Arcade machine.
8-bit.
Yep. Newest brawler.
Naja.
Nope.
Not bad. I think we got this.
Okay.
This is round 2, and I'm here with Team Humble. How many brawlers are you gonna guess?
More than 8.
Okay, 30 seconds. 3, 2, 1, go!
So my brawler is a thrower. He throws
Varley.
bombs.
Dynamite.
Yeah. Train.
Chuck.
Rat.
Radmo.
Spawns shadows.
Sirius.
No, 3 shadows.
Super. Skip.
Okay. Can control enemies with first super.
Willow.
Long range brawler, my favorite one. Semantics.
Pierce.
No. Semantics.
Piper.
Mutes enemies with a super.
Otis.
Ink drops. Yeah. Skip.
Stop!
Shit. No.
I mean, 6 is fine.
6 is fine. We're not happy with that, but we're fine with the record.
Yeah.
Welcome to round number 3. I'm here in the lobby. I'm here with 2 fans. You can win the gold Brawl Cup postcard. Wow. But you need to have at least 3 brawlers correct, okay? 3, 2, 1, go!
Okay, so he's an old man. He's living in a hotel, and you think of ice. When you think of ice, yes. Okay, so he's also an old man. He's like a magician, and he poisons people.
Byron.
Yes. Okay. Oh, he's like rolling on the ground.
Darren.
Yes. Okay, so she's got like, say hello to my little friend.
Jesse.
Yeah, okay. We got, he throws stuff.
Dynamite.
Like free stuff.
Tick.
Yes. Okay.
Time is up! Oh my god! You were amazing! Guys, you won the postcard, the gold postcard, and this was Guess the Brawler.
The fans did pretty well, the players and the casters too, I must say. Now we have something else for you. I hope you were all keeping up with our bingo card. I hope you did Uber today.
Me? Oh. Yeah, we don't have bingo yet though, right? Apparently
Not
it's been decided that I'm wearing the brightest outfit, but I think I've got some contenders. I've had some contenders. Okay. Either way.
We only crossed it out today because the last 2 days I think I still did a bit more.
I'm convinced you're wearing each other's wardrobe sometimes and just not even realizing at this point. It's
no
like,
way.
It's quite
That day one
it's quite
shirts look a little familiar, I'm not gonna lie, mate. No comment?
Don't know what you're talking about. The oh my goodness came out of you already as well.
It did. I felt like it was the good time for it.
Tickled that out of
It was that hot zone moment, wasn't it, with Revenant Spark? And I thought that was warranted. I had to come back to the desk saying that because I would have absolutely been saying it on the casting desk. So it made sense.
And now you have waited for long enough. Let's head straight into our match number 2. Tribe Gaming versus Revenant X Spark. They both have been performing exceptionally well. Tribe finished with 2 3-2s over an incomplete but lethal FUT Esports. Regardless, they redeemed their prior Brawl Cup run against Toxic Lotus as well. They did top that group in the end, and we all called it the group of death. So that's quite a remarkable feat.
Yeah, for me as well, Semantic saying a lot about how his, back and forth with Tribe Gaming historically over the years could come to light. I think he's beginning that. Revenant X Spark are actually a serious threat in this competition. They kind of remind me of the Toxic Lotus of last year. And, again, with less LAN experience on their side, no doubt about it. I think they could definitely cause an upset here if they start to gain some momentum against Tribe, who are coming into this competition the weakest they've ever looked, actually. If you look at their monthly final statistics in that regard, not a single monthly final win. So I think for Tribe Gaming, yes, they are looking very, very strong on the world stage. Their drafts from Killer have been on point, and their confidence is key. That LAN experience is going to come full circle.
Diego Gamer is the secret for me. And while the results haven't been like the best for Tribe, I also think the rest of their region has come up and it's looking more competitive. So I believe in these guys at LAN. Diego has been really fighting. This isn't his first time at LAN. This is his first time at LAN like as a starter on a roster. He's someone we've been waiting for a long time. I think he makes this the most consistent and reliable team in NA, even if they haven't had the peaks of some of the others. But look at Onirob. They had those peaks and they flamed out on stage. I don't want to see you peak too early. I want to see you make it all the way to the finals. I really think this team has got what it takes.
We have the global bands on stream now as well. Crow, Colette, Edgar, and Ruffs. And I must say here, we have Revenant X Spark always being extremely reliable when it comes down to playing their comfort picks. Tribe Gaming, of course, now had a lot of time to prepare what exactly they want to play, and I feel like Crow and Colette might be a bit targeted there.
Definitely Colette for sure. I feel like whenever I'm seeing Tribe, my mind always goes to tanks. But interestingly enough, we are seeing how they're using that against other teams, actually, and kind of keeping it more in the back pocket. Starting to really experiment and come out of their shell and trying to do things that their teams that they're facing least expect.
14% only for Revenant X Spark. Is that warranted, Uber?
No, but this is bound to happen, I think, for a Road to Brawl Cup team who are still a little bit untested. And we talked a little bit about the group that they were in, right? I think that Eternal maybe weren't really ready for competition at this level, so expectations are still tempered for Revenant X Spark.
The players are waiting backstage already. I hope you are ready as well for match 2.
Well, we are well and truly underway because it is time for our next quarter-final match. Now, these next two teams showcased perseverance and heart yesterday, taking their matches to the distance. So, first up to take onto the stage, we have the team who not only survived the devastating Group D, but dominated it in Tribe Gaming and their opponents with the entire region of SCSA on their shoulders and the rookie sensations either side of Sergeant. Whew. It's Revenant X Spark. Let's do this.
Once feared globally, these former kings of North America faced harsh critics back home. Now battle-hardened with fresh firepower, this household name is here to reclaim their global respect. last year's Cinderella story was missing its happy ever after, escaping the brutal SESA qualifiers. Their steadfast leader brings fresh blood to finish the fairy tale on the global stage.
Sergeant, make your way over here. Luffy! Oh, he's focusing right now. Luffy? Come on over here. Don't try and hide from me. Come on. I'd like you to stand. I'd like you to face each other. Just face each other. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, NA, SESA, two regions trying to hold on to their spot in the Brawl Cup. Sergeant, you ready?
I've never been more ready. I've never been more ready.
He's never been more ready. Luffy, you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Touch gloves if you want. Let's do this, right? You can go back to your spots. Here we go. This has all the markings of a great match. A game 5, if you will. But what do I know? I tell you who does know, the desk. So let's get this match underway.
Luffy. RBM. Diego Gamer. Hiroshi. Sergeant. Super Walk.
Thank you, Barney. After 2 days in Berlin already, I must say, the crowd is amazing. The weather has been great. The players are showing us the best Brawl stars we could expect. And I'm so excited to do it all again today. We're now in quarterfinal number 2. Tribe Gaming, the NA powerhouse, now has to redeem the region as we already lost the first seat.
I want to talk about RBN quickly here. He's always been known as a tank player, but lately he's shifted off that role entirely as the meta has changed. He, on a map like this one, would be playing the Stu if it were not sort of being banned and handed over. He's a Ruffs player. He's playing a lot of Leon mostly. So keep an eye out for this guy to do more than just be pigeonholed as a tank player. Otis as an opener here. This is a brawler we've seen Diego Gamer really try and draft in a lot of these matchups, and honestly, in his hands, it looks sick.
Nudge is open here. I'm not sure whether it's necessarily the brawler which shines through in the scrim sort of data, but often it's banned, so I mean it's definitely up for grabs here. Chester, I feel, is a definite pick that should be in the ideas of Revenant at this stage. But I do like the Mortis ban, I do like the Mo ban, very kind of clean cut ideas from Tribe. Brawlers like Kit here can be really problematic. Surprise! Lily as well can certainly be something which are very hard to play against. So another wild card pick from Revenant's Colt, they sometimes just break open. So there's definitely still a lot of potential here.
We are in gem grab, so I do like your Kit's idea. Lily's also still left open. Those two are always dangerous, especially later on in the draft. You have that comeback mechanic, snack up the gems in the last few seconds with a hypercharge, get out with a gadget. Let's see if we're gonna see such an aggressive brawler here already, or if we're gonna go with double counter. Charlie and Chester now, a lot of DPS and perfect against these pesky assassins.
This is nice drafting because you'll notice that both Mortis and Edgar are unplayable here, but one brawler that is open is Fang. So if you're reading into, Luffy's tendency to want to play these all in, like high upside, high mechanical ceiling brawlers, then having Charlie just to stop them in their traps, I think tracks is really good. And you've also got two very serviceable mids here as well.
Yeah, it's got like the panic button push, hasn't it, really, with Charlie, and you can kind of use that to your advantage in those assassination brawler moments. I like your shout of the Fang. Now the Shade's come in, though, it may not prevail, but Shade has had some very good showings this weekend. It's also had some very poor showings, so I do worry with the potential of the wall break still available on the side of Revenant. That's why I don't like Shade at this stage of the draft.
Shade is okay. Yeah, I agree with you. You can break up the walls already with Chester. Now we would have even more options open. Rolf spanned out, but Griff, of course, could still come in on that right side. Nita now. They also need to double down here. Really want to make sure they don't get any assassins against them. And there's the Griff we mentioned. Opening up the map against the Shade. always a great idea. Now, we have two soothing voices for you for this match to bring it to life, Kenny and Trev.
Thank you very much, Sonny. It's good to be here on Championship Sunday. While these teams took two very different routes to reach this stage, they have one crucial commonality. They are down to their final life. The weight of Championship Sunday is heavy, and both of these teams being tested. A miracle run in Stockholm for the right-hand in. Meanwhile, North America are trying to shoulder an entire region. Tribe Gaming versus Revenant X-Mark.
Super early wall break coming in from Sergeant, taking out pretty much all of their back bush. They know this Shade's going to want to get in those aggressive positions and really make use of those walls. So getting rid of them usually wouldn't be the strat, but seems to be working so far.
Sergeant on the back lines, working on that top side as Shade goes for the Haunted Hug. A little piggy bank to bounce him back. Super, the money dishing out to that top right-hand side. Luffy still juggling all of it, though. Somehow remaining alive. Hiroshi just going to rush this down and ensure the kill.
Yeah, well, the bear coming in nice and early. A bit of heals with the bear with me, go back RBM's way. Sergeant gonna get muted from range by Diego Gamer, and he's taking the 1v1 matchup, but Sergeant using those mechanics to juke, stay alive, but the Fat Splatter will seal the kill.
The KD is just entirely favoring Tribe right now. I mean, there's not been a single moment where Super Walker, Hiroshi, anybody on this Revenant X-Mark squad have really expanded until now. Finally starting to accumulate some gems, and you're starting to see the vision. Clearly this Griff pick, as we all knew going into this trap, was here for primarily the piggy bank, and also as an option to maybe get some high DPS against something like a Shade. Chester able to get that shut down. Little candy popper going in as well. RBM manages to get the trade. Still gems favoring Tribe Gaming, but it's getting a lot closer in terms of positioning.
Yeah, that super kind of knocked him into range. Another set of walls over the right-hand side gone, and Luffy knows all he can do now is walk in a straight line and try and get the job done. Good kill from Revenant X-Mark up top yet again, though, and they do have great control of this gem spawner at the moment. Luffy lunging in now. There's the super coming through. Hyper along with it with Diego Gamer. One the other way, getting a big hit in. Super Walk falling low. Diego Gamer narrowly surviving a hypercharge used by Super Walk to keep this lead.
Hyper aggressive out of Super Walk, and look at this. The longer this goes down, Shade's superpower slowly dwindling away. The one thing the Ghost can do is get through walls, and now in the wide open, he's gonna have no range to work with.
Yeah, next gem gonna be spawning on Revenant's side, and that would kickstart this countdown. This still lingering on the right-hand side, the super of Hiroshi, but Luffy trying to get in, get that gem off their opponent's side. They're gonna need it, but he's got a super over the other side for the Charlie, can make them drop everything they have, just about picking it up. And a gadget used there as well, but the pinch will see the end of Luffy.
Bad news on the bottom side as well. Hiroshi with the big play, but RBM trying to make up for it. Bruce the Bear left all alone. As Chester now walks it back, Super Walk alongside him as well, as Luffy has a super, has to dive forward at a moment's notice. 15 is plenty for the count as Sergeant plays bodyguard. Excellent comeback there from Revenant X-Mark.
Well, it's something we've seen already, depriving the Shade, but it's not, not giving him supers this time. They're just taking all his power away by not giving him any walls. Really, really smart strategy here from Revenant X-Mark, and super unusual to see them just break probably the most important wall to them off the start in the usual game, but against this Shade, very smart from Tribe.
Tribe need a quick game. They led very early on. The piggy banks, the more they accumulate, the harder it gets for Shade to persevere. You're seeing it now, Luffy able to hug this left-hand side wall. Hiroshi 1v1ing RBM. Nice job, as Sergeant already has that super. This is a much better start, I would say, from Revenant X-Mark. They had a couple members go down in game one.
And I mean, the start was the main issue in the previous one as well. Huge piggy bank there on the left-hand side from Sergeant, just filling it up with those coins and making them explode these two sets of walls on the left-hand side. Luffy, no matter which way he goes, he's not got a nice matchup, but a super missed in the mix there from Hiroshi, and he won't be pleased about that.
Luffy taking advantage early. Has to be able to grab these kills and allow for his team to expand with space. Diego Gamer and RBM gonna have a tall task ahead of them. A cocoon going down immediately. Now the wall break as well as Luffy tries to penetrate through two. Sergeant with a beautiful shutdown. RBM lurking on this left-hand side as a cutoff goes off in the mid. There's so much room to operate now, especially in the wide open. Stuff like Fat Splatter is not nearly as valuable.
Well, a hypercharge for Luffy and one for Sergeant on this right-hand side, so not an ideal match for Luffy at the moment. He's gonna go in now. Hypercharge pops as well, and the piggyback knocks him away, but he cycles it out and gets two. Can he get the third? Doesn't even go for it. Fat Splatter might see the end of him anyway, but he narrowly survives. But it's 8-2, and Tribe in a wonderful spot to close it out.
Purple button down the right-hand side lane. All the members of Revenant rushing down the middle as Diego Gamer on the left-hand side pops one of his own. Luffy, 3 gems on his noggin. They have to find a kill on one of the two in the bottom left-hand side, but Bruce the Bear is fierce. Luffy has just enough walls. It's going to be a close call up in the air, but doesn't make contact. Tribe Gaming tie up the set.
Revenant not looking nearly as confident in that one. and it was a much better start for them as well. So it's weird to be seeing that, to be honest with you. They were thriving in the late game in the last one, but Tribe took a vast lead early on in terms of gems. So they're going to want to change this game plan back to what they were doing before, because that really didn't go well for them.
Luffy making that pop-off play to grab those 3 gems, change the entire direction of that game. They got through with it, especially after all the piggy banks didn't get to go down as early. Luffy capitalized on the moment, was able to take advantage, grab a kill as Hiroshi does the same on that right-hand side. So once again, much better start for Revenant X-Spark compared to game number 1. Another piggy bank distributed top-hand side. Luffy still on this. Oh, and it's so close, but he goes down. Just such a hard job for him.
It's a good job Diego's holding his own through this mid, to be fair, because both of his lanes are folding again and again and again. And don't get me wrong, I think we expect the Shade to be doing that. All he needs is the one play like he did last time, but down he goes again and didn't get any supercharge back from it.
Even in gym counts roughly. But slowly, these wall breaks are starting to shape up the map entirely differently. Diego Gamer holding on to a super of his own, so they have to either make a pop-up play with Luffy, I would say, or get Diego Gamer to get a big-time mute. There goes a gadget, now a hypercharge going down as well. Ooh, that's a tough miss, low HP for Super Walk as well. RBM pursuing the kill, Sergeant there to defend as Hiroshi scoops one in as well. For an extra safety precaution, we'll drop this super up the middle of the map as Sergeant cleans up top.
Yeah, Diego wasted a super in there as well. That's a big thing for them, and all of this map in the middle is open now, and Luffy going to be just trying to make the same play as last time with a hypercharge when he manages to get one. Fat splatter through the mid, but it is starting to get away from Tribe at the moment. Low on the left-hand side, so Luffy lunges on the right through the walls and trying to get in the rear of Super Walk, but he's just backing up into the arms of Sergeant.
The Haunted Hoodie up top. Not enough. They've got plenty of DPS to go around, and now this is wide open area in the middle of the map. Now a 9th gym, just one away from Revenant X-Spark, and this hypercharge on the right-hand end will completely cut this off. It's just Diego Gamer who can walk.
There's 10 for the side of Revenant X-Spark. Countdown starts now, and 6 over the other side, so won't be able to get it done from mid. 10 seconds now as they're starting to close in, but Luffy with no super forces an early hypercharge. Diego, who hits the hyper, but can they get the damage? Good tanks, Luffy staying in, but gets muted out and stunned. There's a chance from the mid, but Diego needs to fight and hold.
Revenant X-Spark recognized this as well. Low HP for Diego Gamer, who does make contact with Hiroshi as well. The Fat Splatter dwindling him away. Super Walk being forced back as now Diego Gamer claims a 10th, all tied up, but complete positioning right now for Tribe. Somehow, amidst this, they're still holding on.
Different game, and the count starts for Tribe Gaming. Hiroshi low, and he knows he needs to get towards his spawner, but he goes too close too soon, and Sergeant has to try and scoop all these gems up. Gets quite a lot of them, but it's out of hand now, as there's 12 for the side of Tribe, and Sergeant accepts defeat in set 1.
Just a mechanics diff, I would say, in game number 2 and 3. To be honest with you, I felt like that was a really good final selection there. Griff, of course, with the piggy bank. You could see the strategy paying off there. But Tribe Gaming just making these big-time plays, especially on that gym count. We had a moment in the one game, I believe game number 2, where Luffy ended up clutching up for his team, grabbing a few gyms as well. Really worked out for them. I mean, I don't think they had the easiest route to victory. I actually think in hindsight, Revenant had a really good strategy, played very well, but I mean, a big-time playmaker from the man on your screen.
Absolutely. All it takes is one play, and those big kind of hypercharge mutes in there, which allowed the Shade to get up close and personal, reset that counter, just changes an entire game. And it was the 2 games that Tribe won. They had these big individual plays with hypercharges. Luffy in the second, and then it's Diego in the third, getting the hypercharge mute and getting them back into that mid. So really strong stuff here from both of the sides. It's going to be very hard to separate these 2 teams across 5.
One of the question marks with Revenant coming into this weekend, of course, was the lack of experience compared to Sergeant. Their last year team went to the Final Four at the World Finals, a Cinderella run in Stockholm. You can just see it, frustration. A younger roster, some new teammates as well. Obviously, they've got what it takes. They showed signs of life there. I would say a very commendable set. Now they're a little more settled in, but that's one they got away from them. That really should have been a 1-0 for the red roster.
Yeah, I think it's rare to see Sergeant getting like that as well. Usually, you know, smiles are on their faces when they were dropping a couple of sets. Yesterday, still smiling, still being like, okay, we're in this. But I think that just goes to show that they are making big blunders, big mistakes in games that they should be winning, because you definitely shouldn't be losing against a Shade in a completely open map. You know, you've absolutely built that map exactly how you want it, and you're still dropping those gems. It's a tough loss for them to swallow.
Tough loss for sure, and of all sets I would say this weekend to be frustrated with, especially when the moment is biggest, that's very warranted, I think. So the leader of the team gonna have to get a little composure here as we walk into Dueling Beetles, set number 2. A few bands flashing on your screen. Pierce is going to be out of the equation. I think a very consistent one on the right-hand side. 3 control-oriented brawlers, so clearly there's an intent here from Revenant X-Spark early.
Absolutely, and I mean, some really strong brawlers banned out on the left-hand side as well. You've seen the Pierce, the Otis, and the Lu, so smart to get those out of the way on a map like Dueling Beals. We've seen the Lu absolutely dominating. When we saw, I think it was Lukey pick up Pierce on day one on this map, there was nothing anybody could do about it either. So really smart bans, I think, from the Tribe Gaming side. You got to be looking towards some of the more control brawlers, but a lot of them are banned out. Leon going to come in then as a first for Tribe Gaming. Smart, I like it. Lollipop drop, providing a lot of speed to your teammates at the same time as well.
If you're not going to go anti-tank early, I think Leon is still a very safe bet. It gets you some signs of aggression, and on top of that, the utility, I think, is why it's going to show up early here. The Lollipop drop is super helpful, but on the right-hand end, they immediately go with Finks, so this is going to be their mid of choice, and obviously the Time Warp is great into the daggers of something like a Leon or just any single projectile brawler, and on top of that, now they have Mina who can kind of juke her way up the map, especially if this is tight quarters and there's no real wall break. I think that could really work out.
Absolutely, got to be very cautious about that Fink super on the zone, especially in those dying seconds where the big plays are made. Mina, with the mobility, going to be able to evade a lot of stuff that Tribe Gaming are going to be throwing at them. And, you know, not only that, everything's going to be slowed down by the Time Warp coming in from Finks too. So a couple of very good picks, and very confident in them clearly as well with how fast they were picked up. It was back-to-back. They knew what they wanted to go, and they know how they're going to execute it. But Chester comes in over the other side then for Tribe Gaming. And I like it. I like it a lot. We've seen Chester again and again and again, and for the most part, it seems to work.
Deadly damage from the Mad Hatter. I think that's a big reason why they picked this up. Also a preventative pick, and just a safe one, man. He's just really good in the meta right now. I think this is really just what's dictated in our current gameplay. It's anti-tank and tank, and it's just something, especially at a professional level, you always have to be prepared for, especially knowing that you don't have the 6th pick. You better cover all your bases here on the 4-5 turn.
Well, Sirius is going to come out on the last. Doesn't seem like he's been succeeding too much, to be honest with you. Still a very solid brawler, been getting picked up fairly frequently, but I think for the most part, yesterday, I think it was like a 0% win rate when played 4 times, which is slightly worrying when you look at a brawler like that. So we'll see what they do choose to bring down. Something like even a Penny, still pretty decent on this map, good into Sirius, going to be able to splash through a lot that he brings in and outrange a couple of the other brawlers as well.
I think Penny's exactly where they're going. You can see a Salty Barrel working out into something like a Leon, also some control into that. Oh, did not expect that, but I do see the vision a little bit. So Barry, a longtime brawler that used to show up a lot, especially in our Brawl Cup of 2025. It was very solid in a setting like this. Let's distribute heals up the middle of the map, and on top of that, the lingering damage might be able to mess with the serious spawners a little bit. And I think just having a thrower in this matchup, no, it's not on paper good into Leon, but with so many walls, I think they can certainly make this work.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll see. As I said, it wasn't expected, but the Berry providing so many heals is going to be very dangerous, especially with something so aggressive alongside it as well. So Revenant X-Spark, desperate to get this set on the board. Tribe Gaming, more of the same needed from them, because they don't want to be taking this far. They want to get this done in 3.
Let's see how they line up off the rift. So Lollipop drop going down to the left-hand walls. Diego Gamer takes that side. Super Walk trying to move forward. Heals going down, but not enough. Sergeant left all alone now, and he's not a lethal damage dealer. Super Walk there to assist with a little windmill gadget to give them some extra percentage points as Luffy. Dangerous intentions on this left-hand side. Sergeant branching out, trying to work against the Mina spawner, somehow staying alive for as long as he did, but it's Tribe who have completely taken over.
Super bold, but super good Leon super there. There were so many times where he could have been just narrowly seen by someone and was eventually, the Berry started shooting back, but he couldn't do anything about it. This has been seeming like a hugely dominant Tribe game, but percentage-wise, it's even.
And percentage is all that matters. Hypercharge going down. A lot of ice cream on the map. He goes for 2 as well. Wherever Revenant walk, there is going to be a heal, and now a Time Warp as well. Slows things down. RBM gonna allow this to pass through, change the pacing up as the Lollipop drop will go right-hand side. Luffy looking for a little chip damage, but Revenant unwavering, just occupying the middle of the map the entire duration of this.
Huge bomb coming in there, does make a connection, but a super thrown out in return from the Mina. Doesn't find any hits though, and Sergeant left all alone once more, but percentage-wise, they got so many piled on the point there, and now ready to bounce back out as well. Luffy gonna be slightly invis out the back of that Lollipop drop, gets his hypercharge and uses it straight away, but Hiroshi TP's back and picks him up along the way.
What a TP play as well at a perfect time. Now it's a 2v2 situation as Diego Gamer going to be trying to operate. Sergeant coming in the middle of the map, loves to play these throwers. Ziggy was what he was known for at the World Finals, and these heals slowly climbing them up to 100%. Tribe Gaming have to take a stand for this game. It's a Hurricane on the left, ice cream down the middle, and a little teleport will get them the win.
It's non-stop heals coming in from the side of Revenant X-Spark. Really good, and a great way to bounce back, considering we saw and we heard how disappointed Sergeant was with the team performance in that first set. So to be able to bounce back and put a performance like that, it's a great sign.
Just shows the kind of leader he is. And also, I would say the team around him has been playing very well today, especially considering the question marks from this team. There hasn't really felt like any weak points yet. Another thing that stood out to me in that game number 1 that I didn't really think about in the draft, why Barry in this specifically? Well, the more ice cream that's on the ground, it's harder for an invisible Leon to kind of operate around this. He's going to be scouted out every time, and that's something that I think as the game progressed made Luffy's job a lot more difficult.
He's getting non-stop hit as well, and Sergeant providing these non-stop heals is proving a real issue for Tribe Gaming. They can't get in this game. They can't stay in the mid when they eventually get some control. Another Time Warp being placed down there, and that's going to be a lollipop drop down. Luffy gets scouted, but he's trying to get around the rear, and this Time Warp still proving a massive issue.
Now Luffy flanking top right-hand side, Super Walk trying to push them back, but RBM circumventing all of this. Diego Gamer falling back as well. No real kills, just plenty of heals going down. Sergeant putting the team on his back just like he does this region every single year, and now they're at 60.
I mean, it's huge from side. It's non-stop. They always have supers. They've always got heals. And even when they're in the stickiest of situations, Sergeant's there to drag them out of it. Diego Gamer just coming back through the mid now. But they've only got 17%. Luffy trying to make these attacks from the back. But Diego Sergeant goes aggressive now instead of playing defensive. And then comes back. Will fall down. Super used by Luffy back there as well. But they're on the zone. Hypercharge is going to be taking a bit of a while to come down. And that should tie the game up and bring it to 1-1 as Revenant takes set 2.
It's a well-oiled machine from Revenant in set number 2. A coherent strategy that paid off. A little boldness out of them too. It's a old-timey idea that worked out super well. That Barry pick certainly caught me off guard. It's not something that I saw a ton in practices, but it worked out really well. It played to Sarge's strengths, who's really good, I think, at just being a point guard, distributing heals, going at enemies when needed. And on top of that, like I mentioned, I think that was actually a really creative solution to go against Leon invisibility, especially for throwers in general. They don't do well into assassins, but because there are so many ice cream cones just trickling on the ground, well, Leon can't take a step.
Yeah, it was really tough for Luffy there. And to be honest, I was surprised to see it come down as a first pick regardless. Wouldn't have really been one of the first ones I'd have gone towards, but you know, they were clearly confident in it. It just didn't pay off at all. And the amount of DPS he's going to be able to do at that range is just so weak compared to the amount of heals.
This is the risk you run when you don't make a defensive first overall pick. Now the other team on the 2-3 turn can make a reaction play, and that's exactly what happened. And then they back-pocketed the Barry, who had a nice amount of kills. I mean, I would say that wasn't a KD kind of set right there, but it was a lot of control-oriented stuff. And that's exactly what this Revenant roster does. Superwalk did his job. Hiroshi up the middle of the map, distributing all those time warps, dropping them in the middle, and just allowing them to occupy the entire hot zone. It basically covers up that entire thing, similar to why Lou shows up on this map a lot. And Control, of course, going to be the mainstay of hot zone. But as we progress, Revenant were willing to give away one set for free off the rip, but set number 2 was a convincing showing. Now Tribe Gaming are going to have to bounce back in Brawl Ball.
Onto sneaky fields, a lot of bushes, and I feel like this benefits a couple of the players here with how aggressive RBM and Sergeant can be respectively for their teams. So I would have expected some more of the aggression to be banned out, but we've kind of only got Ali out of the way. Mo, yes, it's aggressive, but it's not the same as these tankier brawlers out of the way. Chester banned out as the third and final then for Tribe Gaming. Over the other side, Lumi, Ems, and Nita out of the way, so they're getting rid of some of the counters that might set up Sergeant well. But an Otis first pick sets Tribe up to stop it.
I like this pick for first overall for a lot of reasons. We talk about it a million times. I won't harp on anti-tank anymore, but I do like the vision that Otis brings in particular, especially with Chester out of the way. Chester with his cap and bells, fans outshot. But of course, Otis, especially with the vision gear and all of this grass, a stun as well, helps you get goal scoring capabilities. I just think that's a very good one, dependable. Whoa, but on the right-hand side, Sandy didn't shock me too much. I mean, maybe a little surprising this early, but it's the Shelly. Why Shelly on this 2-3 turn? That's so early.
Yeah, I'm unsure. I'm very unsure, because they can just go nothing aggressive and just play for a bit more control. They've already got the Otis, so it's not like they've overcommitted too much already. Otis is a brawler that can just play kind of any matchup. You know, he's not going to be bad at close range, not going to be bad at mid-range. The map's broken up. If it goes to overtime, he's always going to be capable of doing something.
I mean, do they want the map open up? Is that why they go Shelly? If so, you paired it with Sandy, who's a mid-range brawler. And now Surge out here as well. I mean, what's going on, Trav?
Yeah,
This is unpredictable.
I don't know. Chalk it up. I mean, I don't know what's going on with these drafts. Super hard to predict. Surge is just a brawler I think we've seen kind of played once, and it just got kept at level 1 for like the entirety of the set.
And it was really good.
It did win. It won. I'm not sure I'd say it was good, but it won. And that's what matters at the end of the day. Got to get these wins on the board, but that's just, it's baffling me.
staggering. Just very unique. I would say 4 brawlers. Well, Otis, I would say towards the tops of tier list. Not necessarily maybe S tier, busted, broken level, but the rest of these question marks. I mean, certainly not close to that. Sirius finally a little more meta semblance here on the left-hand side, but we're just full of surprises so far. Revenant X-Mark, it worked really well with the 6th pick of Griff for their final selection. Didn't win the set, but I still think nonetheless the strategy was there. The gameplay was still solid. Just a couple mistakes and big plays out of Tribe is what prevented them. Let's see if they come up with a genius one here.
Yeah, I mean, Sirius is going to have so many spawners into the Shelly. If Shelly goes aggressive, going to be feeding the Surge. It just doesn't seem like she's going to have the best of times here. I don't doubt that they've got a game plan because, you know, who comes into Brawl Cup and doesn't have a game plan? But Poco's going to round it out. They've got a lot of fanning shots, to be fair, so they're going to be able to see quite a lot of the bush with the Sandy shots, with the Poco shots. But, yeah, I don't know, guys. I don't know.
Well, I'll speak for the Poco at least. I'm imagining this is partially to get vision, like you said. I mean, that's obviously a great asset, but I imagine it's for the gadget to go against Otis. I mean, that is a way to neutralize that, so I wonder if that was part of the influence. 1-1 overall. I would argue Revenant have, for the most part, played the better set, but a couple pop-off plays have helped Tribe Gaming in this. And of course, in a mode like this, where one goal can make the difference, it really could go either way, as Diego Gamer already establishes control of this right-hand side. Sergeant, though, blowing up the middle of the map, a kick over. But now with 634, has to back away. That's a big-time kill, but RBM, who I think he could have kept walking there. That could have been real disastrous for Revenant.
Yeah, I think he was a little unaware of how low that a lot of Revenant X-Spark were. Superwalk just going to grab this ball, expect it to be sent into the corner. And that might be a pass to the mid goal here. Luffy gets the ball.
Come again?
Kenny?
I'm not sure what to make that. Maybe expecting a buck blast, but it just never happened. I don't know about that pass. I think there was a real opportunity to walk that forward. I'm with you. That was questionable at best.
I mean, you try it, and if he uses a super, then he's broken the entirety of his map open. But that's not what you'd expected. Tribe still powering through, but Sergeant managed to get the ball to the right and give them a bit more breathing room.
Now Hiroshi getting eradicated as well. I mean, just so many kills for Tribe Gaming, but they still haven't knocked one through. They're trying to move their way to this ball. It's a really difficult position. Sure, it's in Tribe's side, but they have to walk all the way around there, and it's chokehold, and Hiroshi knows this. They just keep spawning out kills. I mean, the DPS has got to be crazy for Tribe, as now Luffy finally attempts to grab it. They're going to leave it on this top-hand side wall, as now a spawner goes down on the left hand, and Sergeant doing his best. And finally, ball control. This is unbelievable.
Well, a hypercharge there from the Poco, and this is the time to go if you're going to go. Sergeant gets muted out, though, and that's not going to be the best showing from him. Just Superwalk left alive. Just him to defend this ball. Not sure he's going to be able to stop this one. Super pass forwards. The Shelly off, but it goes past him. Oh, Sergeant almost with an incredible defense, but the ball just rolls in anyway.
I thought Sergeant made the play of the day. That is unbelievable. What a wild set we are watching right now, and it's just game number 1. Hypercharge for Sergeant now. Buck blast going down left and right as Hiroshi looks to clean things up. Musical instrument up the middle of the map as Sandy waiting for a cautious play. Keep in mind, with the gadget, Sandy essentially gets a free knock-through, but has to wait for them to respawn so they're not indestructible.
Fast Splatter to block off the pathway. Here's the super, and the pass should be there to the right-hand side. Don't know if he's got a gadget in the pocket, and 2 of them go down. RBM gets it past Hiroshi, and I can't help but feel that's another attempt missed.
Safe to say it's just a sloppy game for everybody, but nonetheless, still a 1-0 lead to the blue side, and with 15 on the shot clock, Hiroshi, the time is now, activates gadget, but wasn't close enough in striking distance. A blunder. Now Superwalk has to make up for this. Sergeant moving down the left-hand side. It's all the way in the back corner. Does he have a gadget available? No, he's muted. RBM makes the play, and despite the kills, Revenant X-Spark don't have enough in the tank.
I don't know what's happening, but it's a super entertaining, very scrappy game of Brawl Ball. That's what it is. A few chances seemingly missed for both sides, but it's more impactful that Revenant X-Spark don't get that ball in the net. Super close to the Sweet Dream stun, followed by the goal, but RBM measures that distance well and stays out of the way.
How do you fare amidst the chaos? Some wise words from our colleague Corey the other day, and it couldn't be more true in this set. Luffy now on stage 2, instantly Superwalk, able to get this off, top left-hand side, so pockets this, but this is where Revenant X-Spark had some serious problems in the last game. They got staggered, and it was just Tribe Gaming 3v1ing them. It was just a lineup of kills.
Yeah, well, Sergeant making the move down the right side, gets a little wall break through as well, but Diego Gamer will spawn in 2 clones of him in turn. Hiroshi getting hit hard here, and Luffy already level 3 is a big thing for him. Gadget popped, and he runs Superwalk down.
Superwalk absolutely pinned. Now the spawners rushing up the middle as well. In the mouth of the goal is a lone Sergeant, and Hiroshi is trying to take care of business. A mute going out. Sergeant low HP, can't get the super off in time, and Tribe Gaming will take their time to put one in.
Yeah, they're going to be pleased with the position they're in at the moment. No Sandy Super, no Poco Super, just Sergeant on the left-hand side. Needing to do a lot of work with just the one Super they have. Hiroshi gets hit hard, hypercharged there by Superwalk. Should be pretty close to Super if he's doing that, not just for the raw stats. Sergeant goes for it. Can't find the opening in the Screech and Solo. Not enough to bring them down.
Luffy's just got such a good matchup one-on-one on the Sandy and on the Poco. I mean, you're seeing it, just a super feeder now that stage 4 finally falls. Sergeant, you did see it, has that purple button available alongside the super, and they're going to need it. Time slowly trickling away, still enough to go through with this, but it just hasn't really feel like they've had enough of a momentum swing to get to the other end.
Yeah, good pinch from Hiroshi and Superwalk there, and with Sergeant coming back up with hypercharge and super in hand, they have a chance, but they've only got a minute to try and make this happen, and they left it too late last time.
Sergeant trying to weave his way through all this defense as now a Sandstorm will go down. Invisibility to cover up the red roster. Hypercharge. Do they see this coming? Now he's going to work his way to the right hand and blowing up the mouth of the goal in the face of Luffy. Looking for Diego Gamer next, and it's a team wipe for the red roster. And now they'll take their time as well. They want this to go on and on. Get this closer to the end of the regulation.
But, like, do they though? Surge is going to have level 3. He's got a hypercharge. They're against the Notice. I don't know if they're going to be that good at range in overtime. They're going to need a Sandy Super. Here comes the hypercharge, and that's one missed by RBM in there as well. Sergeant looking for another super. Hiroshi around the side gets burnt down fast. But Superwalk with so many piercing shots, but gets beaten down by the shadows of Diego Gamer.
Superwalk will take down the clone as Luffy is now on tier 4. Sergeant Super gets Diego Gamer, but there's spawners to cover for him. That's a big time kill. Still control of the map for Hiroshi, who's just trying to gun them down. Superwalk Puppy guarding as well. Diego Gamer moving towards the left-hand side. Now pass forward. What is this? A blunder! Absolute chaos in set number 3, and a freebie for Revenant X-Spark.
I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening, Kenny. It seems there's so many blunders, so many missed opportunities, but then all of a sudden opportunities appear out of nowhere. And that is so free for Revenant X-Spark. They just all went left.
Awkward silence has fallen over the Berlin crowd here. I mean, nobody knows what to make of that. Just mistakes on both sides. The spotlight bright here for the Brawl Cup stage is now Sergeant looks to go at Diego Gamer, does have a super available, so most spawners in his disposal. The Sandy will be the replacement there. Superwalk just doing his best to get these peak shots, but again, Luffy can get this so easily if he just makes a few taps.
Yeah, gadget there on Sergeant as well, brings him low, but Superwalk will give him a little gadget in there as well. Hiroshi just working for a super of his own, but nice heal there, keeps him in the mix. Luffy going for the left-hand side, pass to the right though, as Sergeant might have an opportunity to get this one up. Goes for the dash forwards, tanks a lot, but not quite enough.
Great.
Ball going the other way now though, and Luffy might have a walk here. No stun is there for Hiroshi, and that's gone from very bad to very good for Tribe.
Phenomenal team play right there. Gets the super pass, a heads-up play that will allow them to score early, and once again, it's Tribe Gaming in the driver's seat. Eyes on Sergeant Super on the left-hand side as Hiroshi has to deal with a clone of himself. I think he's gonna even get the kill on him. They don't have enough for a super. Luffy's shut down, but man, it was close. Diego Gamer might try and clean this up for his own.
Yeah, just waiting this one out now. They know they've got the lead and hoping to hold them back for the rest of the game. Not overextending for a chance at a goal, but there's the Sandstorm going in. Diego Gamer looking pretty low, and Superwalk will help Hiroshi in that matchup. RBM coming forwards, gets one kill. Sergeant searching for a super, but RBM's got a hypercharge, and that's wasted.
A lot of pressure on Revenant right now, especially with Luffy having a hypercharge. Diego Gamer with a couple spawners on the map. The shadows are lethal. Sergeant baits this out though, doesn't get the kill. Contact made, Superwalk can't get the pass off. Sergeant looking to move forward. Hiroshi body blocking it, it's not quite enough. Stopped up the goal, denied by Luffy.
Yeah, no stun there in time, and still Tribe Gaming have the lead with 42 seconds on the clock. Revenant X-Spark aren't going to get many more opportunities like that, but the Sandstorm will help them get in the mix. Superwalk trying to get up, but Diego Gamer causing so many issues, but they've supered the ball straight to them, and you don't want to be giving them control at this point.
Super shadows go down as well, so now the job for Tribe Gaming a whole lot more difficult, but it helps when you get a kill. 2v2 situation. Numbers returning to Tribe Gaming as they get the respawn. They're going to pocket this in the bottom left-hand side. It's going to be down to one Revenant push here. A Sweet Dreams going out as well. Diego Gamer caught lacking, but does survive. Luffy up in the faces of the enemy side, and Sergeant just has to pop a purple button, but he knows the inevitable. Tribe Gaming in a chaotic set do just enough to get by. Who can make the least mistakes? That is going to determine our winner, it feels like today.
listen, I'm not one to comment on it usually, but he's just shot at his own teammate and he's not looking too happy on stage. Sergeant really displeased with that overextension early on from Hiroshi there. Seemed like they needed to wait for Super Wart to come back up with the Poco. I'm pretty sure he had a super, screeching solo along with that as well. Some good piercing shots would have got them through that defense, I'm sure. But he was kind of fed a bit of misinformation by Tribe. He was like, oh, he's like stepping in, trying to bait that Sandy forward a little bit preemptively, and he fell for it.
Both of these teams, I would say, especially compared to what we saw in match number one,
rough.
Humble, textbook play, that was just a bad beat, right? I mean, I think that's about all you can do in that situation. But both of these teams are looking, I'll say good, but certainly not perfect. I mean, you can see the frustration. There's so much to unpack with this entire set. An unorthodox drafting on both sides, I would say. And on top of that, just mistakes driven across the board. I mean, we had multiple times there where I feel like goals could have gone in. And that's why I think Sargent is so upset, especially with such a young team. He just has to know that these young rosters are sometimes going to make moments like this happen. It's really hard to show up on your first ever quarterfinals in something like a Brawl Cup, a World Finals against some of the best in the world, and just be perfect.
Yeah, I think it's a good job we cut a few of those voice comms off, to be fair. I think he took his headset off once, and I don't think you want to read what he said on his lips. But he had 11 kills. I mean, Sergeant, he's well worthy of having these conversations with his teammates. If he's dropping 11 kills on a brawler, we were questioning so heavy into that match for the Shelly. But it's behind them. They've got to move on. Knockout and Bell's Rock is up next, and it needs to be a win for Revenant.
Left-hand side is calm, cool, and collected as well. I'm sure they're counting their lucky stars, especially considering that replay. You saw it. One of those moments where they just drop a game in overtime because of, well, a bad comm. They just let them literally walk by. So both of these teams certainly flawed, but nonetheless, one can go to the semifinals. Would be cool if Revenant made it. Obviously, they would get a rematch against Humble, especially after that semifinals last year. It would just be Sarge, of course, repeating that, but on the left-hand end, same can be said for them. Tribe Gaming lost 3-0 at the World Finals. Both of these teams have a lot in common in that aspect.
Yeah, well, Leon comes down as the first pick then for Tribe Gaming, trying to take this one back. Didn't really work for them in Dueling Beetles. Didn't work at all. It really did nothing in that matchup. So surprising to see them bring it back in, but it should do a bit more on Bell's Rock. Obviously, you've kind of got those still lingering speed boosts at the Lollipop drop, which can put you in some great positions early on. Ban-wise, Ollie, no surprise to see that out of the way, along with the Mina and the Kit. Don't want any of those cheesy Kit comps coming in again. Nadia, Jean, and Pierce over the other side, banned out from Revenant X-Bar.
Two entirely different methodologies in terms of bans as well, so it's just all assassins on the left-hand side, so they pick up Leon, one of the last remaining, I would say, top-tier ones, and on the right, they're just going to grab the control brawler / the long range that they wanted. So Gus, and I imagine they pair this with something. I think Thrower right now is hard to commit to. Brock's still on the board as well if they want to control the walls. And instead they go Jae Young. I like this. This is something that showed up a lot this weekend. It wasn't something I was necessarily so keen and focused on, but now that I've seen it played through enough, I do think this is still a very valid strategy in our meta.
Yeah, I think Jae Young's a great shout from Revenant X-Spark. It has been played in a lot of the bounty and knockout games where it just does so much. The ability to switch between those modes, provide heals, get the speed, get the Weekend Warrior going occasionally as well. Couple of quick back-to-back picks from Tribe Gaming, clearly very aware of what they want to go. The Brock and the RT in the 4 and 5 picks, sorry, back over to the 6th of Revenant X-Spark now, and a lot still to be desired here, I feel. Seems like Tribe might be breaking up this map and playing a range game.
Really like this composition in general. I mean, just a lot of safe bets, and RT on defense is so good. He's got the long range, so can kind of keep up with Jae Young and Gus, of course, even Angelo as well, but it's those end games that I'm looking for. Does he get a hypercharge? If so, that's basically a round one. It's free damage across the board. If the circle starts to close in with the fog, the green gas, and on top of that, the Jackie-esque form can be so overwhelming to deal with. Revenant X-Spark, down one. Been flawed for a lot, but same can be said for Tribe Gaming. It is truly anybody's match. A date with Humble awaits the winner of this. Both of these squads, the last remaining team for their region. They want to hold that banner high. They want a shot at least an LCQ. Here we go, folks. Set 4. Let's get it.
Well, slipstreams early off the start from Superwart, getting them into the mix. Now, a nice pierce through the wall as well from the Angelo to get rid of that Lollipop drop early on, establishing control behind these walls and forcing that rocket jump back from Diego Gamer.
A lot of caution. I think we'll see that a lot, especially considering Leon's really the only assassin as brawler that we've got right now. Everybody just trying to get those pivotal supers, move towards those hypercharges. The super walk, ooh, has to trail carefully here. Sergeant goes for long-range shots as well. Rocket Rain, Diego Gamer just opening up the map a little bit, but it's kind of awkward. Didn't love that from him.
Yeah, super odd wall break there. Luffy's coming really aggressive here as well. Hiroshi might have been able to get that kill. Does force a lollipop drop to tank though, as RBM's not the most healthy on that right-hand side either. And it's back to the stalemate in mid. A few supers acquired here and there, but I like the look of that Gus one on the right.
Maybe a little too cautious from the Gus, but nonetheless does keep himself alive. That is what's most important, especially in this where you only get one opportunity per round. Another lollipop drop. This one gonna be much more protected, but a great gadget choice. Gas starting to close in. Super walk available for the heals. A shield going down. There's the first kill. Red roster strikes first. Diego Gamer raining thunderbolts from the sky will keep the roster low HP. He's diving in right in front of their faces, and it's a team wipe. Tribe Gaming go down in flames.
Didn't seem like a 3-0 game, I'll tell you that, but all members of Revenant X-Spark left standing at the end. Another gadget instantly being popped by Sergeant to stop these lollipop drops, putting them in a bad position. Hiroshi, super on the right-hand side, but he's against RBM. Doesn't want to be close and personal against him when he can drop these legs so easily, but Sergeant in a position of dreams for that, really.
Feels like this is another 6th pick where, did not expect that outcome. Really thought that was going to be favorable to Tribe Gaming, or excuse me, for Revenant X-Spark, but it ends up being Tribe Gaming. It's now Super Walk. Has the heals available, a little extra speed for Sergeant. He's going to have to really pick up the pace here for his team since they're down in numbers.
Yeah, Super Walk just providing some speed, but gets 2 tapped by Diego. And Sergeant left all alone once more. Luffy will clean that up, pick a hypercharge along the way. And now it's not looking too bad for Tribe Gaming, but it appears a lot of kit is there for Revenant.
Luffy hypercharge available too. Ooh, he got scouted out though. I was waiting for him to use this. Now he's going to pop up in the middle. Doesn't have a ton of health points, and Sergeant popping a super to match as well. So the welcome to the swamp. Going to be encompassing the middle of that. Will heal him up back slowly. Won't even worry about getting poison damage, just trying to preserve his life.
It feels like a waste from Luffy there, really. Obviously, there was a chance to get some work done, and he thought he could take it, but just cut short by Sergeant. Gadget popped here again. There's super over the top with the Rocket Rain from Diego Gamer. Speed, or heal, sorry, now used by Super War to keep Sergeant healthy. Luffy gets hit hard, might have to back up, and a hypercharge for Hiroshi on the right is dangerous for RBM.
No room to hide for Revenant on the back line, so they're going to take the speed advantage and move their way forward, try and gain a little positioning. We're getting closer to this fog closing in as well. That's where everything will go down. All these purple buttons and super that you see on your screen, each team waiting to use them.
Yeah, Luffy popping this super now, kind of waited quite a while, but gets scouted out. He's having a real tough look of this. There's the heals as well. Hypercharge is being popped left and right from Revenant. Sergeant pops his, RBM uses a super, doesn't have another one just yet. The gadget by Super Walk, Hiroshi pops a shield, 2 go down. Luffy left alive, Sergeant v2, and that's not winnable. Tribe Gaming gonna be on match point.
Frustration from Sergeant. Just saw it on stage, an instant reaction there. That's another one where it's just so close, but just these little mistakes, these last-second moments just not falling their way right now. And this is it for them. Southeast Asia's sensation, the chosen one. Can he deliver once again? Backs up against the wall, new roster in 2026. They're gonna have to pull off something special.
Absolutely. Tribe Gaming looking really good right now, even winning some rounds that it didn't look like they were gonna win. But RBM obviously gadgets off the start to get this super up and running in case someone comes quite aggressive onto him, but it seems they're playing very slow. Not going to be able to get this one down as Sergeant's pushed back. He does pop the gadget now and tries to get this. Ooh, finds a shot on Diego Gamer, leaves the lollipop drop for once.
Fanning shots from all angles out of Tribe Gaming, and it'll force Revenant X-Spark back. Now Sergeant tries to retake control. Hiroshi firing shots down this right-hand side. Little extra speed for Jay Young and Diego Gamer, just playing at patience, both sides being really cautious.
Yeah, well, a really nice lollipop drop to get them into this position here. Sergeant not going to take it that many hits just yet. Has a super, and Super Walk alongside him as well to provide heals if he does get low. Slipstream's being used, and there are the heals, but he pops a super of his own as well, and RBM going to be... Oh, I think he just gadgeted backwards, Sergeant.
Yeah, you can see an angry face. I'm sure it's on his real face too, but RBM, knows better, knew the fog would close out. What a beautiful execution there. And they execute every single member of Revenant X-Spark in addition to brutal beat. And now they're really going to be feeling the pressure.
Tribe on top of the world at the moment now. Revenant X-Spark backs against the walls, but there's the gadget from Sergeant to pierce through that wall. Luffy coming hyper-aggressive early on, but a heal used by Super Walk. Luffy low, so runs back into the arms of Diego Gamer for a bit of help. And all 3 members of Revenant in the back right.
Thundering from the skies is Diego Gamer. No more room to hide. Super Walk low HP, trying to tiptoe his way all around this, but the shot goes through. 3v2 situation. It's been a long time coming, but Tribe Gaming have finally gotten back to a top 4.
devastation on the faces of Revenant X-Spark. Sergeant and the guys couldn't get it done for Southeast Asia. But Tribe Gaming, as you said, Kenny, putting NA back on top. They're going to be getting to the top 4 here and fighting it out in a big, big game in the semis.
Back on the map for North America. This awesome stuff. It's been a while since we've had this opportunity, so I won't make you all wait any longer. Let's see what Barney can get out of these guys.
North America survives and thrives. I've got RBM joining me here. Tell you what, speaking of thriving, all of your matches, they've almost gone the distance. They've been so close. You've gone to game 4s, game 5s. Do you and your team, do you feel like you thrive under pressure?
Parece que todos vuestros partidos llegan a un cuarto, un quinto mapa. ¿Crees que es porque vuestro equipo juega mejor bajo presión?
No sé si decirlo así, pero yo creo que cuando es bajo presión, como que todos estamos más focos, ¿no? Como que queremos acabar el partido y pues demostrar nuestro nivel y al final bajo presión uno siempre muestra su mejor nivel. Entonces como que...
When we play under pressure, it feels like we are playing better. We want the game to finish. We would like to win earlier, but we just play it.
You played incredibly well, of course, but you know, I want to talk to you about the dynamic of your team. Like, so how well do you guys play as a team? How much do you trust them? What do you guys, what do you guys feel like brings the best out in you?
¿Cómo crees que es vuestra dinámica como equipo? ¿Quién aporta qué piezas dentro de la partida para poder ganar?
Yo creo que lo que hace que nuestro equipo tenga esa dinámica es de que siempre jugamos comfort, de que jugamos los brawlers que cada uno se siente cómodo con ellos y aparte cada uno cumple una pieza fundamental del equipo, entonces cada uno es muy importante. Yo veo como un reloj, que es un reloj y cada parte es muy necesaria.
So everyone puts in their part, we try to play the best. The picks are important, and yeah, every player is very important for the team.
Well, you've made it through to the semi-finals. Congratulations, ladies and gentlemen. Let's hear it one more time. It's Tribe Gaming!
Congratulations to Tribe Gaming making it through to the semis. With that, we now know semi-final number 1 is gonna be Tribe versus Humble. So Humble has it in their hands to eliminate potentially the whole entire NA region. It looked really good from both sides, honestly. Revenant X-Spark definitely showed us some signs of life here, specifically in this hot zone sets that they ended up winning.
Yeah, which I already want to break down and touch on because Sergeant, when you go back and watch that hot zone game, was just a one-man band. He was the aggressor, he was the support, he was the anchor for his team in every way with that berry. There's one moment as well where he was waiting for his team to recollect, they went down, and he was still continuously hitting every member of Tribe with shots, preventing them from healing, preventing them from being able to contest the zone in the way that they would like to have done. So I feel like this man is so talented, so gifted. I would love to see him be brought over to EMEA. I mean, I want that glory in my home region, you know?
He's an insane player and has been for multiple years already. We now see once more RBM Luffy and Diego Gamer take that last set. Knockout was decided in a very quick fashion here. I must say, for the side of Tribe Gaming, for me, the MVP definitely Luffy. Especially on that search on Brawl Ball, it was insane how he never let their opponents heal up or score. After all, Brawl Ball is all about that.
Absolutely. I mean, I think all of the guys on Tribe played really well, and I think your point of Sergeant on Revenant is really unfortunate that, there was a few overextensions here and there for his teammates in those big moments, and you could see how frustrated he was on stage as well. It's disappointing to see them not progress further.
Tribe moves on, but Barney, I heard you have a little something for us.
That's right, yes I do indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, before we continue with Championship Sunday, we have a very special announcement for all of you guys at home and of course right here in Berlin. So please join me in welcoming to the stage the General Manager of Brawl Stars. Put your hands together, make some noise for Frank!
Hallo Berlin und hallo unsere Zuschauer zu Hause. It is time to announce the location of the Brawl Stars Esports World Finals 2026. I know we made it pretty hard to guess, but millions of you guessed along inside of Brawl Stars. We are specifically excited about this one, not only because the esports scene in the country and our dedicated fans, but also because it's the biggest esports event we've ever done. So, are you ready? Seid ihr bereit? Let's go!
Phenomenal weekend of esports, and welcome to the Brawl Stars World Finals!
Their rivalry one last time, not remotely enough from Humble. Crazy Raccoon crowns King of Brawl!
Stop right there! You forgot this!
Brawl Stars is coming to Tokyo! And it's gonna be the biggest, best Brawl Stars event ever. Hopefully. November 20th through to 22nd. Are you guys gonna be there too?
I'm so excited to be there. It's going to be absolutely insane. The biggest and best Brawl Stars event that we have ever had. Crazy Raccoon are going to be defending their championship title in their home turf. So you know how that's going to go. Fan meet and greets, exclusive merch, cosplayers, the works. This is what it's all been building up to.
And the best fans in the world too. I think the Japanese guys will be absolutely electric in the crowd. I think it'll be an incredible event, and I'm really, really looking forward to it.
I am too. We have 12 of the best teams in the world with us there. $1 million prize pool, and maybe also some exclusives for you.
Maybe. And some special surprises maybe in store as well. So, of course, as always, ticket sales, check out on the Twitter, or X as we refer to it now as well, for the Brawl Esports side, as I'm sure that's where you'll be hearing about those sort of things first.
There's gonna be meet and greets, exclusive merch, cosplayers, and everything else you can wish for. And now, since we already have Japanese talent with us live on site, Barney, let's have a little chat with them.
Yes, we shall. I am live over here with the phenomenal language casters from Japan. I've got Melty Wahoshi and Yuki here joining me. And you know what? What a great announcement. I want to quickly start off by asking, how does it feel to now know that you're going to have this incredible Brawl Stars World Finals in Japan?
この発表は皆さんは嬉しいと思うんですけれども、まず感想を一言お願いしたいと思います。
いや、身近な日本開催でとても嬉しいです。
Yeah, I'm very, very happy we're going to host this in Japan this time.
It's going to be amazing. I cannot wait to see the entire Brawl Stars community descend upon Japan. So I wanted to ask you, what are you most excited to share in terms of Japanese culture with the Brawl Stars community?
世界のファンの皆さんは日本に来るのはすごく嬉しいと思うんですけれども、皆さんは日本文化ならどのような部分に一番皆さんに見せたいですか？
やっぱ食べ物ですかね。まあ日本温泉。
It has to be food, and then I think the hot springs.
The food and the hot springs. Well, we all cannot wait for the Brawl Stars community once again to descend on Japan. I think the food, personally, is what I'm most excited about. Brawl Stars fans, are you excited? I think they are.
I am super, super excited for our third LAN events of the year. We first have to finish our first one, Brawl Cup, the second edition, here in Berlin. And we're heading over to our quarterfinal number 3. It's Zeta Division versus Bounty Hunters.
This is going to be Bounty Hunters' biggest test to date. And that is no other way to put it. Zeta Division are looking incredibly scary. I know that you were saying, Trav, when we were chatting about today how things might fare out, that you've really got some high hopes for Zeta in this competition, and I can see why.
Yeah, I was like, listen, if they get into the semi-finals, I think they're going all the way. If they get through that, it's like, I think, they looked really strong to me yesterday, and we always kind of think that Zeta's drafts are the kind of things holding them back, and I don't think they were too bad through their group stage. So for me, I think these guys have absolutely got what it takes to. You know, it feels weird to say Zeta winning is an upset, but I feel at the moment that's the kind of stance people would be taking.
Thinking about our bingo card as well, we still have that little field left open, an underdog to upset one of the favorites. And it wouldn't honestly be one of the first times where Zeta Division would get upset in a huge event. Last year at World Finals, they dropped out way earlier than we all expected.
Losing to double match point to STMN and then Papara Supermassive from the UK with a final blow. And the first time ever in the Brawl esports history that we've seen Zeta Division be grouped. So coming into this competition, definitely a lot to rekindle, and rekindle they have so far, but to go out at this stage to a South American team would absolutely be on par with that kind of upset, I'll be honest.
Yeah, I think they've kind of feel like they've lost their fear factor a little bit at these big events. When, you know, you're dropping out early rounds of World Finals and not having the best showings in your home region. People aren't going to be as scared. Global bans, though, Edgar and Naja there for the Zeta Division side, and Mortis and Kit out of the way for Bounty Hunters.
It's an interesting one. Naja banned out after we have seen her left open for quite some time in the global ban stage. And now Bounty Hunters are the last ones to carry the flag, to carry the torch for South America. They only have one more team left alive to gain that additional Worlds or LCQ slot for them. On the other side, with Zeta Division, they of course still have Crazy Raccoon, and we're gonna see them later on as well. East Asia still has 2 lives, SA down to 1 life. Let's see if Bounty Hunters can do the unthinkable and upset Zeta Division.
Yeah, it would be, honestly, the biggest upset in this competition so far if that were to happen. So, no pressure, Bounty Hunters, no pressure, guys, for sure. But, you know, this is why I kind of like those global bans. Not taking any chances, no Kit, no Naja. I think that is the right way to go. In fact, I would say that we've kind of seen a bit of a lack of Kit global bans by comparison to monthly finals as the poll. 89% to Zeta, 11% to Bounty Hunters. Again, still getting these kind of heavy skews. How do you feel about it, Trev?
I mean, I can't help but feel like this is one of the more realistic heavy polls we've seen, to be honest with you. I do feel like Zeta Division are in a great position to just go and take this one in a 3-0. And we haven't seen any big upsets, so I don't know if we're going to see that many more now.
I hear the teams are ready, so let's come on in, guys.
I want you to keep something in the back of your mind. That one incredible performance can change everything. We are no strangers to upsets here at the Brawl Cup. Mike Tyson famously once said, "Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face." And both of these teams are winding up. And so, first to step onto the stage, the East Asian powerhouses, the mechanical demons. They are Zeta Division, and their opponents with all the potential to become the next South American sensations. They are Bounty Hunters. Let's bring them in!
Forget the cheap tricks. For their next act, East Asia's greatest showmen are unleashing a masterclass in mechanical dominance, drowning the competition in a devastating display of unmatched power. Quietly clashed in every South American bounty. Now this unexpected top seed faces the world. In the battle of regions, will they hunt or be hunted?
All right, here we go. We have one already for the face-off. Batman, you wanna come here? Very quickly, want you to face each other. Okay, Zeta Division and Bounty Hunters about to face off right here on the main stage. It could be an uphill battle, but I cannot wait to see what happens. Are you ready? Yes, he's ready. Let's go. The energy's good. You ready?
We are ready, and we know we can beat 10 in draft too.
I love this. I love the positivity. Do you want a fist bump? Touch gloves. Let's go. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I feel the energy right.
Tempo. Suzuku. Batman. Wesley. Prosy. Portox.
You heard it here. You heard it here. The crowd is...
Raccoon also bearing their fangs in the same side of the bracket, so they need to put on a show here. A dominant display of strength is in order.
Oh, they want this rematch on the big stage, but they got to get through Bounty Hunters first. And a pretty solid draft from Bounty Hunters as well. Lots of good brawlers allowed through, and Bounty Hunters completely engulfed these lanes. Stetampo moved backwards in a spawn. Wesley dominating the left lane with Rico. I can't believe this was relegated to a last pick.
Suzuka might lose his gems here. There's just really nowhere to go. Wesley is low, but Prosy can just continue to throw the shuriken here. Suzuku somehow still standing and drops gems in safe territory now. Prosy being tapped up by Stetampo. This isn't looking great here for Bounty Hunters.
All of a sudden, and here's a lane swap also from Wesley. Knew that he was just going to get devoured by the Sirius on the left side. Here comes another Shade to deal with Portox. As Batman tries to pinch with it on the right side, it's a victory for Wesley as he presses through. This is the ideal position for Rico since he reaches into their backlines. But Suzuku doesn't care. He's not even trying to get into those bushes.
Suzuku now up to 8 gems. Wesley definitely able to keep the collect quiet, but in the meantime, the same is being done by the Sirius in the top side of the map. Batman has been impossible to shift, and Prosy is outranged by Suzuku, who knows he can just take his time and take the final gem.
Oftentimes it doesn't matter whether you are outranged as Crow, you're still able to dodge those shots, but Suzuku has been on it. The predictions with some of his shots have just been deadly. Bounty Hunters now making one final feeble attempt to make it to Zeta Vision's side, but there's just no point. Stetampo lights them!
Pretty scary hypercharge there from the Colette. But honestly, it was that new Buffy gadget with the stun component there. You've got to be very, very careful now, giving Colette CC not only on her gadget, but also on a star power. Yeah, pretty frightening stuff. I gotta say, the series is a problem. Batman has been bullying them at the top of the map.
It's difficult to deal with as a Rico because he can still fire over the walls. Batman's taking this left lane versus Wesley playing much more conservatively this time. Wesley debating whether he's gonna push in also, just like he did last time. Finds the angle on Batman, really difficult for him to avoid given the range of some of those shots. Suzuku also holding his own at mid. Prosy wants gem number 2. Suzuku can't really line up the shots. It's a stalemate here at the beginning, but Suzuku gradually moving forward, taking up space, has forced Prosy back.
Whoa! Suzuki, he wants to press up. That Kuki Popper again pulls up a little bit short, and Suzuki has to shield up with all the damage coming belatedly from Prozy. Still a 2-gem lead. Chitampo trying to play it careful here against Portox, comes in for the kill.
You're just not getting through this lane. Chitampo is a phenomenal Colette. We've seen it in the World Finals before. Pre-Buffy era. You just got to connect these two dots here. On the left side, Batman now deleted. Suzuki going to get pressured from the left. Needs a joint push from Prozy. Instead, they're actually going to recuperate. Let Batman come back. It's not really great for Wesley on the right side. Chitampo keeps this Chester back. He just doesn't have a matchup, really. There's nothing that Chester is good here for. It didn't even enable a last aggressive pick for them either.
Portox has to hope for effective super or being able to build up his hypercharge, but he doesn't seem to be doing enough damage to ensure that here. Prozy low now holding 6 gems. The margin of error gets a little bit more slim. Careful. Yeah, multiple launcher comes out and takes Batman low. It does end up being traded at least. Prozy almost gets caught there by that time to collect. Now wants to dive in as Chitampo, who gets a shield from Suzuki. Great timing, but the collect still falls.
Near miss there for Prozy. He almost got taken down for all of his gems. Now in this forward position, has to yield to Batman. Double hypercharges popped in unison. Suzuki moves forward. Chitampo wants another big play, but Prozy is too wise to get caught there. Nonetheless, bounty hunters have to move in. They cannot sit back and wait for these gems to spawn. Looking at the timer now, no. It's going to be too tight. They can't go for it. Have to extinguish this in spawn. Prozy going to go for it. Chitampo with the defense, and Suzuki too safe. Set one heads the way of Zeta.
A little bit unlucky to step up there with the healing super on Chester. Had to be used and hope to re-roll something different. Ultimately, that was the brawler that looked the most out of place in this draft. Zeta Division understood the assignment. Do not pick a tank or someone that is going to be highly susceptible to Chester. And he was essentially shut out of the game. Having a lane against Chitampo's Colette in this era of the game on Chester, forget about it.
It's pretty miserable. You're outranged, tons and tons of DPS. It's high execution if you want to get damage in close range. But you also see Chitampo, look at this. I mean, it was the last second. It was a dead game. But if you're getting hit by 3 consecutive hypercharged Colette supers, someone has that accuracy, they're able to churn that level of super cycling, you've got to be scared.
Not the start that this Bounty Hunter's outfit we're looking for. The Rico pick that was pretty heads up, seeing no wall break there, seeing an opportunity to find a strong lane. Wesley was definitely a threat. The problem is that Zeta just swapped out of that lane or just used their Sirius safely. Batman was a bit of a nuisance as well, slowly getting damage, building up those shadows, pushing up the map when Wesley switched to the right side.
Rico's a good brawler. It's just that now you've made that Chester pick almost pointless. You didn't enable anything for your last pick. Zeta have a way of blocking out all of your options with this draft. They'll play stuff that's pretty safe, really, really versatile, and play to their mechanical strengths. Everyone's tired of hearing it, but it's simply the truth. They lean on their raw skills to make these games happen.
But it's getting close to the time to put the narrative of East Asia struggling with their drafts to bed.
Yes.
I think against Only Realms, Zeta drafted fantastically and actually had them comped in the last 2 sets of that series. Crazy Raccoon, we've sort of haven't really thrown them under that same umbrella for a little while now. These are great drafts from Zeta Division. And frankly, you know, Mameshi coming in the coaching role or like assisting Latox there as well with these drafts, I think has been a huge boon for this team. Out in the open, we see 2 sharpshooters picked up straight away. Angelo, of course, can traverse the water on the left side of the map and get in to the effective area much easier. When Pierce is an absolute menace and of course can hit you from behind those walls if you're forced out of the map.
Pierce has better DPS than Angelo here. That's why he's first picked. He is the premier sharpshooter in all of Brawl Stars at the moment. Often deserving of a match ban. He'll be able to churn damage. Angelo is lacking on the burst. Yeah, the double sniper is pretty weird. It's pretty much an invitation to bounty hunters to say, okay, now go something aggro, and Zeta will attempt to counter with a final pick.
Zeta are going to be able to see the entirety of this Bounty Hunters draft before their last pick comes through. But on this map, what are you playing to close the gap? Yeah, okay, we're going to pick up Brock here. Someone who can open up the map a little bit, allow Bounty Hunters back in. With Mina banned, I think you're pretty short on gap closing brawlers here, especially with Kit and Mortis already having been banned out, as well as Edgar. So we do not see any real aggro brawlers at all here for Bounty Hunters in the end.
No, not really. They could just play directly into this Pearl and decide, okay, we'll make it a triple sniper battle. We'll go for Bell, go for a counter, something pretty solid that has good survival, prevents everyone from grouping up too much. It's also this Pearl a deterrent against stuff that gets in close range. Piper as a final selection. They've gotten triple snipers over here. This is going to be a skill and control-based battle. They'll be outranging this Pearl. Also, Pearl, I assume, will be eaten alive by Piper. When you have accuracy, snappy sniping is always a great thing to have in your toolkit. Piper also just so effective against anything that's beneath base move speed.
And I don't know how any of these Pearl Supers are going to become relevant.
No.
I'm sure you open up the map maybe for the rest of your sharpshooters, but this is going to be a tough one for Bounty Hunters. Zeta Division are not afraid to go full sharpshooter. Here we go, folks, jumping in out in the open. Shitampo already gets in the middle of the map.
Gonna fire the first arrow of Cupid in the usual spot, but no one's biting. Bounty Hunters know better than to all group up on that middle choke. On the right side, initial damage for Wesley. A bit of it's going to be reflected by Batman. Now Portox goes for the punish, just out of range of getting Batman down. We see the shield up, also another stronghold broken open. It's not so much about getting quickly into mid as it is diminishing the bushes that Suzuku needs to work with at mid.
Wesley doing well here. I think you've got to be scared of the Pierce. Batman didn't have an opportunity to pop that return to sender gadget, and frankly just got outdone by the current best sharpshooter in the game.
3 versus 2 now. Wesley just wants his hypercharge. That is his win condition. Also denying value to Suzuku, who would love to break open a wall for an easier rotation backwards. Portox can't really find the mark. Suzuku down to 1. Prosy with the extended explosion radius of his gadget will take 1 down. Shitampo wants to just get into the poison while also farming his hypercharge. Yeah, not going to bite, not going to give anyone any value if he can afford to. It's round 1 to Bounty Hunters, really surgically played.
Yeah, that Wesley Pierce is going to be a bit of a problem for Zeta Division. Continuing to open up the map a little more here. Portox can tank these hits pretty well, especially with that shield at full heat. Portox knows there's nothing really to do until it's time to go aggressive, so they'll stay full heat, or rather shielded up here, and they will simply wait for their opportunity to dispense some.
And when you place him on this lane, even into 2 sharpshooters, he's still able to stay alive. He plays at max range effectively, all kinds of projectiles to be avoiding, and I also like the reload speed of Pierce. You see the initial homemade recipe from Suzuki. Once again, they want to drop Wesley to 1-tap so that he's forced to move back off rip, but it's not going to go anywhere. It's another low and slow game from both Zeta and Bounty Hunters.
Wesley revealed briefly. Obviously now there's an entire new map of terrain to clear. The Bounty Hunter's already getting to work in that regard. Prosy already making use of one of those rocket fuels. Does take a hit here though from Shitampo. Batman, return to center, pop there! And good catch on Wesley. The pinch to the right is sound, and Portox is in trouble. He might be at full heat, he might have a shield in play. But Suzuku is looming large at the top now.
In close range, a gadget from Portox is a death sentence. He's just trying to work his way in there. He's opting to go for this 1v2, draw some fire away from Prosy, who wants to fight a 1v1 on the left side. He won't be left alone. Suzuka going for the pinch while also threatening Portox at the same time. The pincushion of Portox cannot stand to these 3 brawlers. It's 1 round to Zeta Division. They have good utility. Suzuku's able to jump away, and he'll play aggro off of that, since he can afford to get down to 1-tap within Wesley's range.
The barrel is still there, ready?
Yeah.
Another peep, unable to clear that part of the terrain. And he got some incidental damage on Portox, but nothing you'd write home about. Wesley here, trying to find some poke damage on Suzuku and gets it. Another connection on Batman, so those flasks are starting to spawn up for him. But he's giving up a lot of ground at the top of the map here, allowing Batman to potentially pinch into the left. Here's Shitampo, hypercharge at the ready. The grassy field basically cleared off by that hypercharge of Piper Super. And Shitampo wants to get a bit greedy here, able to dodge the shot in from Brock though, while Wesley still looks for a way into the map.
Shitampo is able to push up there because he just has so much speed. In mid-range, Brock is just absolute trash. So if Shitampo can close the distance, that's where he knows he's going to win. Portox on just 1-tap has to retreat. Wesley, likewise on the right side. Shitampo gets 1 with a gadget. How often do you see that from Angelo? Zeta finish it off and get the game win 2-0.
I think this is a great illustration of just how technical this matchup is. It's extremely execution dependent. It did feel like Bounty Hunters were really very willing to give up the map one of the hidden MVPs of that round, I think, is the Hypercharge Piper Super that clears all the grass at the top. That allows Zeta Division to take even more map control. Prosy needs to try and do the same here and expose Zeta's plans to the world.
Also a different lane matchup this time. Wesley on the left side. They want him to take on Shetampo. They've identified him as the primary issue, and they just trust Portox to dodge out the shots from the two sharpshooters fighting in tandem. Wesley now rotating back over towards mid. They're just looking for some sort of solution. They managed to get game one, but looks like Zeta Division caught up with them. Now that's a big wall break. Barrel finally destroyed for Zeta. That's a big one out of the way.
Batman had to use a return to sender on Pearl, which is definitely the least effective use of that gadget, but he was concerned about his health pool. That does, though, as you can see, force Portox right up to the top of the map. There's no way he's going to be jump padding in, not without a super. Wesley takes another glancing blow from Shetampo, but it allows the Angelo to move up, take that space.
Good heads-up play for Prosy as well, breaking the rightmost obstacle so that Portox can move through this choke into mid. 300 HP left. Prosy fired upon by two enemy snipers. It's Wesley and Portox to try and recover this, but Portox can't hit the gadget. At least he gets one kill on the right side, can work towards his hypercharge. No, didn't even get a single salvo of cookies off. Nothing gained.
Suzuki's spacing is astonishingly good. He is seeing the gadget pop by the Pearl and just staying outside of her range, only just. Not easy to do. But this has been a nightmare for Portox. It's just a last pick, functionally, this Pearl. Bounty Hunters really hoped for it to be the trump card, but so far it's been their Achilles heel.
A hypercharge for Suzuki. Would he do it? No, he'll never jump in. But Batman has tons of damage. Will eventually fall to Portox, but he's the last one standing against three. 39 HP to hang online. And Portox, despite his best efforts, will fall. It's 2-0 Zeta.
Sharpshooter class has concluded. Zeta Division super happy to go down the rabbit hole on this particular map. They saw what the draft served up to them. They said, hey, you want the Pierce? We're going to try and answer it with the Nani. We have the Angelo already. And hey, why not just go all the way? Why not full commit and add the Piper to the mix? It wasn't easy. They did drop a couple of games there. You can see how dangerous Pierce is when he starts to get going. Brock can be a nuisance if he clears it. But again, it's the Piper clearing the bushes that is so annoying. For Bounty Hunters, they have to play right at the back of the map, and they don't have favorable sightlines after the fact.
Yeah, big problem there in the ends of game 2 and then 3. Bounty Hunters with this Pierce, though, managed to 1v2. I mean, huge props to Wesley taking on some of the most skilled players on the entire globe in a 1v2 on the big stage. His first appearance in a long time in this regard. Bounty Hunters, I think, just found themselves outmatched in some of these interactions towards the end as Zeta began to unravel things and figure out. And that's how this goes. That's why we play a best of 3 with the same brawlers, because there is such thing as an arms race in the draft. You can play the same draft 3 different ways, but games 2 and 3 went the exact same way. There's no possible catch-up for Bounty Hunters.
Yeah, you mentioned that Wesley eventually lane swapped to try and fight Shetampo, trying to put their best foot in the Angelo lane. Unfortunately, by that point, it meant that, you know, Portox on the Pearl was having to play against basically 2 sharpshooters, 1v2. I feel like you're basically a lemon in that kind of scenario. And so, we're off to lay a cake for the last opportunity for these Bounty Hunters to come back with something from their foray here at Brawl Cup. Bounty maps, honestly, for Zeta Division, they've been one of their weaker game modes, honestly. You see them attempt to play Rico a lot on this map and have very limited success. They have a 13% win rate on Rico, who's one of their most drafted brawlers on this map in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, well, what that tells me is experimentation. I don't think this is a red herring. They're not wasting practice time. They're just trying to figure out, yeah, is this possible? Can this work? Can we play around, you know, maybe it looks perfect for something that plays well around walls, but Shade is banned out. Taking a look at the bans, Shade has been eliminated. Kaze, easy way to get that blue star right off the beginning. Now, again, we've seen that this is incredibly execution reliant. You have to get the blue star and then play defensive for as long as you can. Gene, also wide open, a fantastic defensive brawler. Wonder if this will be picked up on the 2-3 turn. It's a high priority. You wouldn't want to give this to Zeta since it's amazing for defense with the healing and the threat of a pull.
So the Meeple's open as well.
That too.
This is that's a go-to for Zeta Division on this map. Honestly, with Kaze Meeple, they've had a lot of success. On the other side of things, yeah, no surprise to see the Kenji picked up here. One of the most picked looks behind Edgar for this team. I'm looking for Wesley as well to be put in a potential carry position. The last 2 sets so far has looked really good. First the Rico, right, and then the Pierce. Obviously, it hasn't been enough, but that seems to be where the engine room of the Bounty Hunters team lies. Now, weird pick here, but we've seen it before. The Cordelius has been played by Bounty Hunters on this map. They're going to opt for the Penny instead. And now you're thinking, if you're Zeta Division, do we have any ways to sort of effectively clear this out? Shade is banned by Zeta Division. That's one of the simplest methods. So what else are they working with?
Yeah, you got thrower possibilities. You could still go Gene here and say, actually, I'll pull the turret. Depends on how defensively Penny plays around it. Always a possibility. You can go Squeak. It's definitely a favorite of these players, and it's a classic anti-turret response.
Oh, this is super interesting. The Juju, you know what? This
range.
is such a South American coded pick.
Yeah.
These guys really drafted Juju more than any other region last year. And obviously that range increase that she gets when playing inside the bushes is kind of what you're going for. And without any bush break, bush burn, or wall break on the side of Bounty Hunters, Juju's gonna have a lot of places to really be very impressive. She is the longest range sharpshooter when she's playing from the grass. Man, getting around this draft out with a Pierce, the fact that a Pierce is open for pick 5 is insane.
Yeah, it's curious, but Pierce is vulnerable in close range, and he's not really first pick here, I think, personally, because I feel like he can get pressured so hard. It's difficult to find sight lines here on layer cake. The map is broken up in such a way that it allows stuff that's tanky, assassin type things to move forward. That is why the Kenji is here gray, to pull people out of position, because they know that Zeta are going to turtle up, so they're going to try and get a pull, maybe hit some walking canes, break the walls that the thrower wants to hide behind, and maybe get a long pull, get someone far out of position, and then run all the way home.
You want to also punish the Kaze for going Blue Star right off the bat. You also give a Kenji delivery system to your team now as well. You can make use of the Dimensional Door to get Kenji deep where he needs to be. Closing the gap, I think, on the Juju and the Pierce is going to be super important. So, Bounty Hunters, last chance out here on the stage in Berlin. Draft a comp that's really all about the Kenji. It's going to be the Zeta Division getting to open with one of their best picks. It's the Kaze for Shizuku.
And of course, it would be Portox on the Kenji. He's been the catalyst for Wesley and Prosy to make it to this stage. He was a star player from his team SKC last year, and now he's brought similar glory to the #1 seed of South America. Things going as expected so far. Shizuku gets that blue star, immediately swaps forms to get some close range damage versus Portox, who thought he would actually be hiding behind the wall. Really subversive positioning in the bush.
Yeah, absolutely. Prosy also is dodging every single shot that Shitampo is trying to throw down there. I'm quite impressed at the footwork. And Zeta are feeling a little bit confined at the moment, I'd wager. Salty Barrel cleared out now. Shitampo does not want to overextend here as Wesley gonna step ahead. Oh, empties the clip. Shitampo's still standing though. Here comes the turret. This is where things get a bit more uncomfortable. Shizuku's gonna come forward and eventually clear that. That's nicely done. The Fan Storm does the job for him, and Portox is a little exposed here.
That was a perfect play from Shizuku. Gonna get another and can't even be taken down. The Batman will fall to Prosy. Shitampo pushes forward, senses a gap in the defense as Bounty Hunters have to fall back a rung on this layer cake. The Fan Storm down, a missed hook for Prosy. Now just trying to cover their tracks as they retreat, but they don't even have a lead. They're down 3 stars at the moment. Shizuku would be the one to kill. That's why he's going to take a more rear position here. Zeta Division once more retreat back to spawn, but they're pretty comfortable here, I would say.
Shitampo sitting on his super makes me think he probably has the acupuncture star power picked up for Grigori, just to be able to counter the approach of the Kenji, slow him down. It's not the most common, but against tanks, it's a decent option. Prosy, oh, dangerous Prosy. Too deep there by far. Wesley at the top of the map, eventually brought down by Shitampo. We know he's handing over those 4 stars, but the work, for the most part, seems to have been done. Portox still standing. 4 stars separate them. Shizuku, all he has to do is stay alive in Zeta Division. Putting on a clinic here in our last set.
Yeah, last set.
Feels that way, man. Feels that way.
By the looks of things, it will be the stalwart defense that they boasted, the way that they so carelessly threw their lives away towards the end of that game. They knew that the math worked out. You just couldn't kill them. They were able to afford sitting up so high. Shitampo can go into their spawn as a thrower, by the way. No walls to cover his tracks. No retreat intended whatsoever. This is the closest Bounty Hunters are going to get in all possibility. 1-star deficit. They just want to get the blue star back. Portox going to do his best. The slow on the right side with the use of gadget. Or rather, not with the gadget.
The water
a brave foray onto the water. Shitampo using all three elements as Juju here on defense.
Is Bro Avatar? That's crazy.
So.
Yeah, Shitampo really making great use of Juju's passive here. Being able to hit a slow means that those next couple throws are almost guaranteed to hit, so making use of those water bodies is kind of sick here. Frozzy getting tapped up by Batman. Gotta respect it. Here's Gregory. It has the shield, so not acupuncture being picked off, but that makes Gregory much harder to clear, especially for Gray.
Yeah, just a really defensive selection of star power. That is what Zeta Division's composition screams. Here it comes, Hypercharge, and Sashimi slices to the sky as Portox goes all the way behind, but he has no support. He's been completely cut off. The turret is down, that should be helpful. Wesley wants to wrap around the bottom versus Suzuku, who has no choice but to head all the way to Bounty Hunter's side. Ends up being taken down, but he really had no other choice. Just got into a bad position.
Portox is going to lose that shield from the star power, so needs to be a little careful. This burst damage. 5-star lead here. That means 2 eliminations required for Bounty Hunters. And Gregory is back on the field. This is going to make it a little bit harder for Portox to walk up on them with that level of impunity. And that turret, unfortunately, will be short-lived as soon as Shitampo draws a beat on his position.
Yeah, well done, Suzuku also placing down the Fanstorm to get it. Mistook for Prosy is going to cost him. It's on cooldown now. Don't think they'll get it before the end of the game. Hypercharge out. They're going for the team wipe. Prosy, the last one, and the pins are in the air. Oh, they don't care for #1 seed of SA. They just have a bone to pick with another team in the semis.
And you've got to imagine that team would be their brothers. Regional rivals, of course. Crazy Raccoon with a chance to be in that semi as well. Zeta Division, though, just like the cheeky little brother, make sure they get there first. Dejected are Bounty Hunters. They do make it through this group phase, of course. But running up against the big dogs now in our elimination bracket, it is tough. We're going to head down to Barney on the stage here to get some words from the winners and see if Shitampo dodges this one too.
Welcome back to the main stage. Suzuku joining me here. A really impressive performance. You guys look so comfortable on the stage as well. Was that Zeta Division at their full potential, or do you feel like you have another level? And Batman, nice glasses.
素敵な大勝利だったと思うんですけれども、ステージ上で対戦するのはめっちゃみんな楽だそうですが、黒はフルパワーでしたか、それともまだレベル上げられると思いますか？
いや、どの敵にも全部出し切ってるので、全力で戦ってます。
We always go full on whatever the enemy is, so we always want to show like full strength, whatever the game.
I love that, 100% every time. Now, a lot of people are talking about it, but you have the potential to play against Crazy Raccoon in your next matchup. Is that going to be a battle to decide the #1 team in the region?
次の対戦はクレイジーラクーンとやる可能性があるんですけれども、その試合は日本の一番強いチームを認めると思いますか？
はい、もちろんです。CR とゼータが最強だと思っているので、どっちが強いか決めようかって感じですね。
Yeah, definitely. We think we're the best, but let's fight them and let's see who's the best in Japan.
Oh, I love that. Let's see who's the best in the region. Suzuka, thank you so much for joining me in this interview. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it one more time for who? Zeta Division.
Congratulations to Zeta Division. They're the third team that make their way through to the semis. Ready? You had the huge honor to cast these games. What was missing on the side of Bounty Hunters? Why didn't it work out for them today?
They didn't manage to write their own story here. In the draft, it felt like they got put into a corner and then they completely bailed on their strat. The Hard Rock Mine stuck out to me where they pick up Chester. Did they just feel like they kind of had to so that they didn't get rushed down? I feel like you have last pick. Rico's pretty solid, but it leaves the Chester totally stranded in his matchup.
Yeah, it just felt very much like outmatched, outskilled, and for Bounty Hunters, some lessons to take away from Brawl Cup, hopefully implement in their monthly finals, showing for Zeta Division as well. Having the crowd behind your side is really quite something at the Brawl Cup. And now that we know where the World Final is going to be, I think it makes the world of difference.
The crowd here in Berlin going absolutely crazy. Also for Zeta Division. Beautiful to see. And now, as I said, third team to stand in the semis. They just need to find out who they're going to play against. We see it here once more. Shizuku Shitampo doing super well in this last set. Who was the carry for you guys?
I think for me, more often than not, it is the tempo. But, you know, I think Batman especially has been making a fantastic statement. And, you know, coming into the year, that was my reservation, was like, how is this roster going to fare, really, with these switch-ups? And I think he's been settling really, really nicely.
Yeah, I liked actually watching Shizuku in that final set. I think he did a phenomenal job on the Kaze, and also pretty much always had Fanstorm ready to respond to a penny turret. Just knew the depth of these interactions really, really well on all of the maps. So I was thoroughly impressed by what these guys had to offer. There's a reason that they are respected as basically 3 playmakers on a single squad.
And definitely no early end to their journey today. Zeta Division at World Finals, we thought they're one of the favorites coming into the tournament, and in the end, it just wasn't meant to be. Today they're looking fierce, and they might even take it all. I kind of have them down as to potentially making it through to the Grand Finals. Maybe we'll have a East Asia versus East Asia matchup in semi-final number 2, though.
It could very well be the case. I mean, I've got to say, though, Foot Esports have been really impressing me, especially considering how they are playing with Lenan instead of Guesty, and we have obviously spoken a lot about that over the course of this weekend. I feel like under all the circumstances that Foot have got faced against them, they've got a very good shot in the next match. But you're right, I mean, it could be Zeta versus Crazy Raccoon in that semi-finals.
I also want to know what our viewers think, the ones at home, but also the ones who made their way to Berlin.
Welcome to day 3 of the Brawl Cup. Are you guys ready? Guys, let me see the signs.
We are from Ukraine and Kazakhstan. We are here for the SMG. We are for our boys for Foot. Foot win!
Look at this. They lost. They trained. They became one team.
Rome, yeah!
I love this. I love this.
Foot win!
Who are you guys rooting for?
It was Toxic Lotus.
But who are you voting for today then?
Who were they rooting for there in the end? It was
Loud
just screaming.
noises, I think.
Yes, that must have been the team. Yeah, I definitely am all for that team. I think it's going to win.
Yeah, I'm not so certain.
Well, we're going to find out. I'm sure they were right in the end. We have one more quarterfinal for you before we head into the semis. So lean back in your seat, grab some snacks, and enjoy, because this is going to be a banger. And hopefully, finally, a close match up here. Crazy Raccoon versus Foot Esports. On the left-hand side, we have the East Asian powerhouse, the defending world champions. They walked out of the group stage with not a single set dropped.
Yeah, that is phenomenal in this competition. It really is. And, you know, for me, I still got to say I am rooting for Esports for that man right there. Lenan has had a really tough start to his season, being dropped from Navi and not finding a team since. If coming in to fill the boots of Guesty, and we know just how big those boots are to fill, if they can do this, go to the semis and maybe even beyond, I think it will do wondrously for Lenan.
And Foot did take Tribe to the final and last set, 3-2 in the end for Tribe Gaming. After that, 3-0 versus Toxic Lotus, and with that, Foot is still standing today in the playoffs. Now, Lenan has called himself yesterday the All Might. He wants to be the hero of that team, saving them from, not certain doom, but definitely an unfortunate event, Guesty not being here ready.
Yeah, a pretty serious level of doom, I, in my personal opinion, believe. Just because how important is that to be stripped of your drafter, your communicator, your star player, your pop-off for the season that's supposed to propel you to victory? So I certainly hope that he can be the savior for the team.
And in their match against Tribe Gaming yesterday, we certainly thought it would be a close one. Not an easy one for Foot Esports to win, but they kind of were the favorites. Do you guys believe maybe there was something else going on there, as Foot Esports was hinting towards maybe doing it on purpose, so EMEA has 2 slots still up for grabs? It's just a joke, of course, but both Nob is saying that was our plan, to take 2 slots for EMEA, as well as Angel Boy did some match fixing against Tribe Gaming to not face Team Humble until the finals, because the first slot takes the World Final spot. The runner-up takes a LCQ slot. EMEA now is the only region that could potentially take both with them.
Yeah, for esports are that org that I've got a really good sense of humor. As well, like, not despite being one of the quiet on the team, I get on super well at events, and they've all got a really, really good sense of humor. I think, though, there is something to be said about how incredible that is as a prospect, though. I mean, when you think back to last year, SK Gaming, Humble in that grand finals, and then obviously, of course, we saw, you know, East Asia as well take that LCQ spot as well. In this competition, it's only 1 and 2 that will be able to take those home. So, I mean, the prospect of that, if for esports can do this, I mean, we know who they're facing in the semis, and that's no easy task either.
It would be pretty unreal to see that once more. I would say it's more unlikely now than last year with sort of a nerfed roster, now that you have Lina coming in and trying to fill those shoes. Our global bans are in. Luminaja banned on one side. We have Ruffs and Sirius eliminated on the other. I think pretty standard stuff. You know, some things sneaking through. I did notice like Mortis is going to be in play. Pierce also in the mix.
Mortis has been one of the most globally banned as well, left open in this one. And the 2 newest additions to the game, Naja and Sirius, both banned out in this series. So for the global bans, we won't see any of these 4 brawlers for all of these maps. Are we going to see all these maps now? Finally, a quarterfinal going to set 5.
I would like to say it will. I think that if there is any in these quarterfinal stages that will, it will be this one. I feel like they are quite evenly matched teams despite, again, on paper, Crazy Raccoon having 2 monthly final wins as well as, but despite Guesty not being here, there's a lot of similarities.
Now let's have a look at what the viewers have guessed. Who is gonna take this one? You can do your predictions still over at event.brawlstars.com. And here are the results.
Whoa. Yeah, are we talking realistic or are we just talking on fandom here? Because this is a significantly weakened foot, but they have the crowd behind them, that's for sure.
They had the same outcome also yesterday. Tribe Gaming usually take the predictions by far because they have just such a huge fan base. But the fan base of Foot is really showing up. You can also hear them in the crowd. Now, Barney, are the teams excited to be here today?
Just one place remains in the semi-final. And this right here, this is a clash of titans. Some would say that we've saved the best till last. It's EMEA's best versus East Asia's best. So first to step out onto the stage, your current world champions. They haven't even dropped a set yet. They are Crazy Raccoon, and their opponents, well, they've had some unbelievable performance so far, and with an Angel at the helm, their synergy tightens with every minute in-game. They are Foot Esports. Let's bring them out!
They sit at the absolute top of the Brawl world. But these kings are still hungry. East Asia's master thieves are back. And they've set their eyes on another land trophy. Flawless regional sweep, this ruthless trio is ready to silence the doubters and conquer the globe.
Good boy. Come over here. Milk Rio, come over here. You stand here. Angel Boy, you stand here. Now, if this was actually a boxing match, I would go as far to say that this looks a little bit unfair. However, thank goodness this is Brawl Stars. And so, Angel Boy, you ready? How you feeling?
I'm very excited. It will be a very good match. Honestly, I couldn't wish for a better match to start our playoff run.
I love that. I love that. The respect is there. I love it. Milk Rio, are you ready? Yes! Yeah, baby! That's what I like to hear. You can fist. There you go. You can bump fists if you like. There you go. Touch gloves. We are ready. There's not much to say about this match other than it is going to pop off on the main stage. So with that being said, let's head in and let's do this.
Moya. Tensai. Milcrio. Lanon. Angel Boy. Knob.
Both teams looked dominant, not only in their home region, but also when we saw them here playing at Brawl Cup. Lana standing here as the stand-in for Guesty. Can he fill those footsteps? Still, this question lingers in the room. I think so far we can answer that one with yes. They at least made it through the group stage quite dominantly, despite a close finish versus Tribe.
Yeah, and it really was a close finish at that. It could have gone the other way, but like I said, that we saw coming into the match, that it kind of works out pretty well for EMEA as a region this way around. Certainly as well, I know a lot of pressure now on CR because we know where the World Finals are going to be. They want to make sure that they represent themselves in that best possible way to defend their title. Lots of good energy, of course, as always, from Milcrio. And fair to mention as well, going back to the LCQ of last year, when CR were backs against the wall against Casa Brawl, and the home crowd very much cheering against them, they were able to find the ice in their veins to turn it back around into their fortune. So I don't think that despite how loud this crowd may get for FUT Esports, that it's going to be enough to deter them.
They march to the beat of their own drum out here. Crazy Raccoon, they also believe in themselves so much. You can tell by their brawler selections, they play what they are good at. It's not about comfort, they just know the level of execution that they can bring with their drafts.
And keep in mind here, Tensai standing amongst that Crazy Raccoon roster, already 3 World Championship titles, now trying to add a mid-season event to it. Chester, our first pick here, no surprises. We have seen this guy come out so often already, regardless of the map emote. Also an open business, of course. It's all about area control, and Chester with huge DPS output, definitely a good choice, especially since on the side of FUT we have a couple of very gifted tank and assassin players. They're also good to open the map here. Griff and Pierce opening up those walls. Definitely this guy come in handy, and Pierce, one of those favorite EMEA picks overall.
It's a really interesting start. I was looking out for that Griff and that chest, and now the map can be so much more open. It deflates away these kind of aggressive picks from Crazy Raccoon, things like Kenji, which can really force their way up the map. So it's quite a good way to start things off on the side of FUT Esports by making it that long-range affair, which may not necessarily be their comfort zone.
Yeah, it's going to give Chester some pretty bad matchups here, and may cause Crazy Raccoon to about face in the direction here. Could open things up for an aggressive last pick. For FUT, they have the sustain that they need to stay on this point. Now, Crazy Raccoon will mirror that with Stu. Stu can dodge out these shots from Griff. I believe in him in that regard. I think also he has a fair range matchup, so he should be able to dash around. Here's the big method, though. The business resilience of Griff will keep him on that point, constantly healing, and Glowy is going to be the one healing him up.
Charlie as a counter to Pierce, thanks to her Spiderlings, the gadget just so good against it. And then Glowy, such a typical FUT pick on a comp like this one. Great comps across the board. Kenny and Trev for you on the mic.
What a treat we've got for quarter-final 4. But on the other hand, it's been a whirlwind of a week for FUT Esports. But nonetheless, 3 new challengers are approaching Brawl Stars' throne room. Will the Land Demons clip the Angels' wings, or will FUT Esports climb the pits of Brawl Stars' hell? Crazy Raccoon versus FUT Esports. It's quarterfinal number 4.
Already big plays being made, Knob falling low early on, and Moya trying to keep hold of this mid, even percentages so far, but the right-hand side already broken up by an early piggy bank from Lenane. Obviously, Angel Boy not going to have the best of times until this map becomes a bit more open, but in the meantime, it's all CR.
Strong showing off the start here as Angel Boy left all alone, marooned on this left-hand side. Lana dropping another piggy bank here, trying to cut off that potential speed zone spawner. The Snob good in the open space, but of course Moya can just dash away. I'm sure that's part of the influence for this pick.
Absolutely, percentage time to get away from Foot now. There's a super coming in from Angel Boy, and he picks up Milkrail early on. Here's a hypercharge in return from Tensai, but doesn't really get too much back from it. A couple of burns here and there, but Glowy will keep himself alive and keep Lenane in there as well. A piggyback throw, hyper aggressive from Lenane, and that's not going to do too much. And Crazy Raccoon will low, but now they're back on top.
Nob has been forced to be a healer, and that's fine. Glowy is, of course, a support brawler, but you'd like to get him a little bit of damage. They need to get themselves set up so Angel Boy can start tackling the other team. But Milkrio, a star of 2025's World Finals, makes great contact with that super. Nob now trying to make a hero's effort. Hypercharge going down and will stray Moya away, but now he's got a super of his own, and Nob, a goner, not going to be able to deal with 3 at once.
3v2 and a hypercharge early coming out of Moya here. Angel Boy going to go down, and some good shots from Tensai follow up onto Lenane. Nob trying to make something happen, but too little, too late from Foot Esports. And a very convincing Crazy Raccoon game 1.
Scary start. Both of these squads, to be honest with you, we may be in Berlin, we may be in EMEA, but this fan base travels well for the left-hand side. An awkward silence, occupying the right-hand end. Crushing sequence there. Foot Esports just never got off the ground running. This time a piggy bank on the right-hand side from Lana. He's had a tough one. Has to come in with this brand new roster, some talented members, but of course the expectation's so high, it would be so devastating just to make a quarterfinals.
Does seem like they need to break this map up a little bit earlier for Angel Boy on this left-hand side, who then should be able to go and dominate Milkrow at least when he doesn't have those spiderlings coming in. Here's a little bit of the left-hand side being broken up now, and much better from Foot Esports as Moya hasn't been able to get the same footing in this matchup against Nob.
Excellent stuff from Foot. What a turnaround from them is now Angel Boy tapping the left-hand side. Will be able to outrange Milkrio, but just has to watch out for these spiderlings. Tensai on the right-hand side as well, dropping a little bit of ice as Moya occupies the mid. This is great stuff, back and forth, but it's complete possession of the hot zone for Foot.
Little tap coming in there onto Nob as well, keeping him low, and Lenane just trying to make something happen. Here's the speed zone, and they start to collapse in on Foot Esports. First signs of life in game 2 from CR, but they've done well to get this positioning back. In the meantime, one of them does fall. Milkrail set back to spawn, but all 3 members of Foot are in theirs.
Potential for a big bounce back here. Now Milkrio respawning as Nob makes an attachment onto Moya. Little extra life there as Lana has to work against Tensai. A bounce back. Now they're going to be able to work from mid-range rather than long. Milkrio, though, just taking his time. Really hasn't been forced out of this. Just so much distraction going on. The other 2 members of CR have given themselves a lead.
Yeah, they're going to surround Nob here as he comes out of that cocoon. Down he goes. And Crazy Raccoon looking like they're about to start running away with it. Angel Boy not having a good time in these matchups. There's the hypercharge coming down. Perfectly timed, but Nob going to catch it away. Another one cycled out and down Angel Boy goes. 15% is all they need for set 1. And Foot are nowhere to be seen.
Desperation purple buttons being popped, but Moya has one of his own. Milkrio matching as well. And the defending world champions get another set on the board. They have yet to lose one this weekend.
Perfection from CR so far, and Foot Esports, a composition that failed them massively. Pierce never able to get going against the Charlie and Spiderlings, and the other matchups didn't work in Foot's favor either. Really strong stuff, and a wonderful showing early on from CR.
Definitely a rude awakening for Foot Esports. I want to give a lot of credit to this team. They are showing confidence, and you have to. Amidst all the chaos, amidst the terrible news of the week when losing a member, when going with the replacement, they've had a positive attitude through it all. I think it's something that's been one of the pluses, one of the strengths of Angel Boy, and I think for me a large reason of his mental success. Despite the adversity, he always shows up on game day, fully prepared. You could see it in the interview. He's not cocky, he's confident. There's an important differentiation, and you need that if you want to catch against one of the immortal Brawl Stars teams.
Game 2 was definitely better from Foot, so they're heading in the right direction, but just a little late to get started. Stat-wise, 5-7-2 as Moya dominating Nob across the board, and Donuts Fullerane and Nob there as well. 0 kills each. Angel Boy managed to get 3, which actually surprises me at that as well, especially with Milkrayo, who only had 2. Seemed like that was a matchup that he was winning, or at least dominating for the most part, with the assistance of those Spiderlings coming in with the gadget.
3 kills is tough, though. I mean, that game number 1 was dominant, but game number 2, they still weren't able to overcome. It's Crazy Raccoon looking in the exact same form as they were just about 6 months ago when Tensai was crowned for a 3rd time. It's been a long overdue coronation for Angel Boy, though. This guy has battled for years, tried to carry so many different rosters, and the quarterfinals is as far as he's ever gone. Brawl Cup, of course, different from World Finals, but I would argue this is still an equal number of competition.
Absolutely. Well, we are going on to Pinhole Punt. Unfortunately, not doubling down on the open business. I'm sure Foot will be pretty pleased with that, to be honest, after their performance on the map. Incoming first, then, is the Chester Banwise. You're looking at the Mo, the Leon, and the Otis from the side of Foot Esports. Over the flip, the Colette, the Leon, and the Crow. So a little double ban on Leon, definitely wanting to get that out of the way. And Chester, this time, in Foot's hands.
If you can't beat him, join him. So we're going to pick up Chester on that right-hand side. Can't fault them. It's been something we've talked about from a large perspective, the bird's eye view of our draft strategy this weekend. And if you're playing your Power League, or excuse me, ranked games at home, shows my age, Brawl Stars, doesn't it? Chester as an anti-tank. And then we're going to go with something on the left-hand side to differentiate. So we're going to have some spacing control coming out of Stu. It's also a brawler I would say that East Asia in particular are known for. It really is allowing them to show off the mechanical skill. After all, we're on that roughly 0 ping Stu, and that's what players covet.
I mean, do you think they like Stu and Charlie, or what? That's 2 times in a row they've picked these brawlers up now. I mean, why change it if it's not failing? Really good picks coming in here as well. I like the Charlie. It's one of the more solid ones against these aggressive brawlers, and you saw it played out there as well against the Pierce. Some really solid success in set 1 for Esports. With the next 2 picks coming in, they're going to go with the Jae Young. Speed, heals, damage, whatever you need, he's got it.
Jae Young's got a piercing shot as well, so I think that's going to help them, 1, be a support brawler, but 2, it's going to get through the Spiderlings that Charlie brings to the table. I do like this from the left-hand end, though. I mean, in particular, Crazy Raccoon have now gone to this a couple times, and I think it's just well-rounded, and especially at a 2-3 turn kind of area in the draft. It prepares you for a lot of things. This sets them up for the 6th pick. Now they can just react to the Mina in their face.
Yeah, well, it's quite hard to react in general to Angel Boy's Mina. We saw it played out yesterday, and it was very strong getting in the back lines of their opponents. Last pick then for CR was the Meeple, expecting that to probably be Rage Quit, I feel, just against the Mina, stopping it in its tracks, but Meeple's Mansion's always an option too.
Both gadgets are great, but I feel like we just keep talking about it in the green room of how good this gadget can be. If somebody's sprinting at you, you can immediately get a stop. And I have a feeling that Angel Boy is going to be playing that Mina. We saw him pop off with this brawler yesterday, and the Rage Quit is a perfect way to put him to a screeching halt. Swift set in our opener. But especially for these 2 insanely large franchises in the quarterfinal, I can't imagine Foot Esports will simply go down quietly.
Yeah, coming out swinging here, getting control of the bush nice and early on. Linane makes the right to left adjustment and leaves Moya all alone on that side. Heel's coming through now, but he's actually going quite aggressive with them. Now the shots are there, and the ball gets passed over to the right-hand side. Might be playing this one back as Angel Boy going for the kill, and the Rage Quit can't stop him. There it is for Foot. Good bounce back.
CR fully knew what they were getting into, so they do go with the Rage Quit, which I think is a good decision. You could see the benefit of it, especially when you're low HP. It does get that stun a little longer, but man, Angel Boy allowing him to have this brawler. There's a Hurricane on the left-hand side, a pass forward. What an assist! EMEA waking up!
That's one way to answer going 1 set down. 2 quick consecutive goals for Foot Esports. Incredible Brawl Ball gameplay, and they're going to want to go and replicate that again and get this set back.
A large array of Foot Esports fans sitting in our front row at Berlin, and they're finally getting a little bit rowdy. Shows for sure how much these people care, how Brawl Nation cares. It's a battle of the regions. It's important.